we will carry on.
Fox's Mark Meredith. Georgia Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler and Democratic opponent Raphael Warnock debate tonight in Atlanta. The state's runoffs will decide the fate of the Senate.
There will be another debate taking place with the other Senate race, but only one candidate present. Senator David Perdue will be represented by an empty podium because of his anticipated no-show at this evening's debate against Democrat Jon Ossoff. This weekend, Ossoff campaigned in a suburb east of Atlanta with Democratic running mate Raphael Warnock, who will be debating Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler later in the evening.
Fox's Jonathan Seri. The Loeffler-Warnock debate begins at 7 Eastern tonight on the Fox News Channel. A new stay-at-home order takes effect before midnight in the vast region of Southern California, much of the San Francisco Bay Area, and a large swath of the Central Valley.
The lockdowns will start tonight for millions of people. They start in regions when ICU capacity, the remaining capacity, falls below 15%. California broke its record yesterday for new daily cases, logging more than 30,000 new infections in a single day.
Fox's Christina Coleman in Los Angeles. America is listening to Fox News.
Is QuickBooks slowing your business down? Do you have challenges managing inventory, project profitability, or just getting paid fast enough? Get your business to a better place and graduate to NetSuite today. Stop paying for multiple systems that don't give you the information you need when you need it. Ditch the spreadsheets and all the old software you've outgrown. Now is the time to upgrade to NetSuite by Oracle, the world's #1 cloud business system. NetSuite gives you visibility and control over your financials, HR, inventory, e-commerce, and more. Everything you need, all in one place, instantaneously. Whether you're doing $1 million or hundreds of millions in revenue, save time and money with NetSuite.
Join the over 22,000 companies using NetSuite right now. Let NetSuite show you how they'll benefit your business with a free product tour at netsuite.com/Fox. Schedule your free product tour right now at netsuite.com/Fox.
Charges are pending in the death of 2 young siblings in Florida.
A 4-year-old boy and his 6-year-old sister were playing miniature golf at the Coconut Creek Family Fun Park in Panama City. Police say a truck suddenly veered off the road and right onto the course, hitting the 2 kids. The boy died at the scene. His sister passed away later at the hospital. A spokeswoman for Panama City Beach says the family was visiting from Louisville, Kentucky, when what she called the tragic event happened. The truck driver is identified as Scott Donaldson. Kathleen Maloney, Fox News.
Talks between Britain and the European Union on a post-Brexit trade agreement are said to be in their final few days on deciding if there can be an agreement. The UK farming minister says fundamental differences remain. Time has named its first ever Kid of the Year, and she's from Colorado.
Some of Giantelli's Rao's inventions include an app that detects cyberbullying and a device that identifies lead in drinking water.
If you're looking for work, you know the math. There are many more applicants than openings, so you need to stand out, not blend into the blah, blah, blah your interviewer is hearing from your competition. Here's a tip. In your interview, you will be judged more by the questions you ask than the answers you give. Yes, do anticipate the obvious job interview questions and prepare concise, insightful, glass-half-full sounding responses. And you should interview your interviewer. Seem genuinely curious about what will help get results. With money and attention so scarce now, effective communication skills have never been more important. You want to cut through the clutter. For more tips for job seekers and making all the other conversations you have more productive, hit survivalspeech.com. I'm Holland Cook.
It seems like we're constantly hearing different fitness advice. Exercise 2 to 3 times a week for at least 30 minutes a day. And don't forget cardio. But don't exercise too much or you'll get hurt. So, how much exercise should you be getting? Well, actually not that much, since the human body is only built to withstand walking a short distance before lying or sitting down again. In fact, a group of biologists from Stanford found that walking more than 5 feet at a time can cause joint pain, fatigue, and even extreme hunger. The study concluded that the maximum effort the human body can safely endure is reaching for an item high on a shelf. Our bodies simply aren't built to stand up and move around. So maybe those high-intensity spin classes and daily jogs aren't such a good idea. Instead of walking up the stairs every day, try taking the elevator whenever possible. You can even use a fitness tracker to let you know when you've been exerting too much energy. Your body will appreciate it. For The Onion, I'm Jill Hooper.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. The Sunday night edition. Sunday.
That requires a royalties check.
Yeah, I've got your royalties right here, pal. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. And you could call in, take control of the airwaves, talk about anything you'd like. You could talk about anything that we're talking about or we have talked about previously. It's up to you. We are here to take your calls and talk about things related to freedom is generally the direction that I go. And in the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And, well, we have quite a few things on deck, so to speak. We've got this from CBS Los Angeles. Pasadena volunteers to patrol streets to help enforce mask mandates.
A little old lady from Pasadena.
Mask.
Turns
granny,
out she's
mask,
a Karen.
Granny, go granny mask. Apparently, the city of Pasadena will have volunteers walking city streets to ensure people are wearing face diapers. I'm against all of this.
Well, isn't it a wonderful thing that your society is just willing to start policing you for your own good?
Yeah, I prefer to make decisions for my own good by myself. I'm completely capable of evaluating a situation, weighing the evidence, the pros and cons, researching the material, and making my life decisions for myself.
Well, that's clearly because you want to kill Grandma.
I do not wish to kill Grandma.
Oh, so maybe not like Cuomo and New York and putting all of them in.
Killing Grandma requires intent.
Oh,
yeah. So I have no intention of killing anyone. And besides that, in order to, even in cases where, like, you hear of a guy who gets like the AIDS, right? And then he goes on his, romantic spree of, raw dogging it, if you will, to a bunch of ladies and not telling them because basically he's trying to give them a death sentence, right? Mm. That is intent. He has intent to cause these people harm and give them a deadly disease. So in order for me to have intent, I would need to first be tested, right? I would need the test to be accurate. And I would need to be diagnosed with actually having a contagious, deadly disease.
And you would pretty much have to seek out old people because it doesn't really affect anybody else.
Yeah.
So if we could just, I don't know, like, okay, fine, we'll age segregate. If you're over 70, go over there. You have special supermarket hours for you now anyway. So just, I won't go to the store in the morning and then I'll do the rest of my life normal.
Agreed. So
well, what I find interesting about this is like, okay, so for one thing, this isn't a law, but everyone wants to enforce it. And when have you ever seen everyone just volunteer to start enforcing the law on each other?
Oh, yeah.
Isn't like walking around gratuitously contradictory to the lockdown anyway?
Yeah, isn't that supposed to be a spreader activity to just walk around on the streets?
It's amazing how
near people without masks, apparently.
It's amazing how government has, instead of spending a whole bunch of money to build prisons for its population, just turned everybody's homes into their prisons.
Well, that's not fair at all. They absolutely spent a bunch of money to build prisons and also did this.
Well, okay, that's true.
That way we can have a first-class prison and a second-class prison.
But think of the money they saved by not building separate prisons for, 325 million people, as opposed to what they've done, which is just like, oh, we've outsourced that to your home. Congratulations.
Yeah, pretty astonishing that people are going for it, too. It's like, oh, yes, well, I mean, obviously I have to do exactly what you tell me when you tell me.
So other topics that are on deck, I titled the show Another Business Stands in Defiance, because we talked last night on Free Talk Live about the bar pub in Staten Island that has refused to close, and we'll have an update on that a little later in the show. But there's also a restaurant owner in Port Orchard, Washington. He opens his dining room and says, quote, he'll go out swinging, unquote, against the state's restrictions. So we have yet another business owner who is standing in defiance of these lockdown mandates. And we could talk about that. I mentioned the update on the New York City, specifically the Staten Island bar owner, who has been arrested now. Apparently, he allegedly struck an officer with his car during the attempted arrest. And we have a bit of an article on that we can get to. Also, Neanderthal genes could link to severe COVID-19. Now, Melanie, you brought this one in, yeah?
Yes.
I'm not familiar with this article. It's off of WebMD. We've been talking a little bit off the air and show prep about, what the different types of caveman genes are and their linkage and that kind of stuff. So we can get more into that.
And the thing about Neanderthals is the one that there is a specific proven amount of a large portion of the population of Europe has a small amount of Neanderthal DNA in them.
Well, all you can have is a small amount. So
right.
A tiny amount, if you're maxed out, you're less than 1% still.
Yeah, there's only a couple of other... they are species of human, but they're not human. They're not modern human. Like, they're not technically a modern human. So you've got Denisovan, which is more of an Asian thing.
Mm-hmm.
You will see a little bit of Denisovan DNA in some of the Asian population, and Neanderthal in the European population. So it's a pretty rare thing to still have these remnants of other species of human.
Interesting. We'll get into that. And then also I have from the A Law for Thee, but Not for Me file, this from the freethoughtproject.com. Hypocrite politicians keep getting caught breaking COVID-19 rules. Here's a list of them. And they do indeed go on to name and describe these politicians who have been caught doing many things that are against their own mandates. One of them, I believe, I don't know if it's detailed in this particular report, but I did hear tell of one of these governors actually on their way to vacation from the airport was tweeting out everybody needs to stay home.
Wow.
Yeah. So
don't anyone go out, tweeted from the airport.
There was also something that I posted on the social media recently. There was a college football game, and during these college football games they have these the bands, right? The college bands, right? Mm-hmm. They're usually large orchestras, and there's a photo that's been circulating around that shows the wind section, right? The saxophones, the oboes, the tubas, that kind of a thing. All the people responsible for that section, they're wearing masks, but the masks all have a mouth cut out.
Yeah, I've seen that for a trumpet, and I'm like, seriously? Yeah. Like, there is literally a little thing to clear the spit from that instrument that you occasionally have to empty.
Yeah, there sure is.
But, it's fine because there's a mask around it. So it's like crossing yourself or bathing in holy water. It wards off the demons of COVID.
I mean, I've been saying for a long time, and I would think that, maybe you guys agree, maybe you don't, but this whole mask thing is not about health. It's about obedience. It's about control. It's about how much they can push on you, because if they know they can get people to restrict their breathing by wearing a mask, they can get people to do all sorts of other heinous things for them.
Well, and as Richie found out, it's not about practicality. It's about optics. It doesn't matter if, you brought your own much better mask. No, you have to wear this, the face diaper mask.
Yeah. 855-450-3733 is our toll-free number if you'd like to join in on the conversation. We're going to talk about all of these things and more. We'll get to your calls and your thoughts here on Free Talk Live. It is the live Sunday night edition. I don't even know what day it is. And we've got more for you coming up.
Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to DivvyProject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from DivvyProject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. DivvyProject.org. DIVI Project.org.
Do you want more businesses accepting Bitcoin Cash and Dash? Now with AnyPay, you earn passive income for every purchase at those businesses. Finally, a financial incentive to spread Bitcoin Cash and Dash. You made it happen, so you receive the rewards. Download the AnyPay Cash Register app and add your cryptocurrency wallet addresses. Then install it at a real-life business and tell us what you did at AnyPayInc.com. AnyPayInc.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by DJ Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Free Talk Live.
I said he was working for criminals.
You called him a criminal, did you not?
No,
he might have just been a sucker.
He said he was working for liars and thieves and criminals. Isn't that what we would call politicians?
They've been crooked since the dawn of time.
Agreed. So let me ask you, what is somebody who takes money to kill at the behest of liars and thieves? What do you call that person? Because a veteran is the one who called in and boxed us in the corner on this in the past. I don't have an answer to that question. That sounds very nice, at least. Do you?
Truthfully, no, I really don't have an answer to that question except to say he was doing his job.
Well, I mean, that's what they said at the Nuremberg trials, right? We were just following orders.
Free Talk Live, 7 nights a week from 7 to 10 Eastern, live on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. chat.lrn.fm.
Looking for a great real estate investment? Consider New Hampshire, which is ground zero for the Liberty Movement. Your first call should be to Mark Worden from Porcupine Real Estate. He's more than just a real estate agent. He's your New Hampshire concierge. Where are the best places to live? Do you want farm, city, the burbs, or forest? Do you want a duplex or multifamily building so that renters pay your mortgage? There are homes in all price ranges in New Hampshire, and Mark can help with financing too. Invest in liberty and property. Mark Worden can help.
PorcupineRealEstate.com.
Love what we do? Please help support our international satellite channels at patreon.lrn.fm. That's patreon.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It is the live Sunday night edition of Free Talk Live, the live call-in radio talk program where you can give a call at 855-450-3733 and take control of the airwaves. Talk about whatever you'd like to talk about or anything we're talking about. Again, the number is 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. You can go there now and click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you will find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized by your needs. There is no longer an excuse for ignorance of this important world-changing information. If you are a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com, where you can get the latest headlines, all of the news relevant to you. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. Please visit Bitcoin.com. All right, so we teased in the first segment about this business out of Port Orchard, Washington. Now, I used to live in the Seattle area. I can tell you this is about an hour plus outside of the Seattle area. It would best be referred to as perhaps a suburb of Tacoma. It's a little bit west of the cities themselves. But at any rate, a Port Orchard restaurant owner opens dining room, says he'll go out swinging against states' restrictions. And this is from, this is a Seattle news station, Q13Fox.com. As the nation sets new records for COVID-19 pandemic deaths and hospitalizations, more businesses are breaking out of step with Governor Jay Inslee's state restrictions. There are more reports of restaurants serving customers inside their dining rooms. Yay! In my opinion, defiance of these things is the only way to go.
You know, I'm really glad to see it. You're a little late. I mean, it would have been lovely to see people be like, no, I'm not shutting my business down just because you told me to.
Right.
It would have been nice to see, say, 6 months ago. But
I mean, better late than
never,
never, right? Yeah, I'm with you on that. Thursday was the first day of the season for dine-in service, quote, that one place, unquote, in Port Orchard. That's the name of the business, that one place.
Nice.
Yes, very trendy. Owner Craig, I'm going to say Kennedy, it's spelled Kennedy. Owner Craig Kennedy said he opened their dining room because their outdoor seating wasn't making his staff enough money. Well, of course not.
Well, of course not. Especially, guess what? What state is this in?
Washington.
Oh, okay, yeah. So it's December, and they're about even with New Hampshire, latitude and whatever one. So.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't get winter in the state of Washington the way it gets winter here, but certainly in Port Orchard.
You still don't want to eat your hot food outside.
No, and
what they do get is rain.
A lot of it, too. And it's cold rain.
Or,
it's bitter cold
liquid
rain.
sunshine.
Yes.
If you have the cynical Seattle viewpoint.
See, a lot of places here just never close. They're like, yeah, we're just having a dining room, and this business that's not, what do they call it? Essential. Yeah, we're just not going to close. Deal with it.
And that's the thing. I mean, outdoor seating is by and large an extra. It's a luxury. It's a little something to make things even a little bit more pleasant. And suddenly you're shifting the entire business model to this thing that was a bonus.
Right.
So like it's like, okay, so you have to make a cake, but you can't use cake to do it. Just pure frosting. But it has to be
no flour,
cake.
no eggs.
No eggs, no flour, no egg, flour, or milk substitutes, but it has to be a cake.
Yeah, it's certainly, well, and of course in the state of Washington, they also have the social distancing stuff in full effect, which means they can only operate at, a portion of their previous capacity, even outdoors. So 50% or less of their regular capacity. This whole move to sort of like oh, well, you can eat outdoors, but then now outdoors is sort of becoming indoors where people are putting up these party tents that have 2 or 3 walls, kind of a thing to like help themselves make more money, because not only have they been cut off at the knees from making money by having to shut down, when they are allowed and they have space to open outdoors, they can only do it at a limited capacity. And so now they're adjusting to the market by creating these outdoor spaces that are semi-outdoor somehow. So you have to eat outdoors as long as outdoors is somewhat indoors because it's outdoors. Doesn't make any sense to me.
And funny thing, rent prices haven't changed.
No, they have not. In fact, they've probably gone up because guess what? A lot of folks aren't paying their rent. And so the people who own the places that are leasing to these businesses have to make it up somehow. And that's going to be at anybody who is paying their rent or wants to open a new business at one of their buildings.
A new business? Are you kidding me? Have you seen this environment?
I've seen no new business. I wonder.
Let me open up a restaurant.
I do wonder.
I haven't spent enough money yet.
I do wonder what the rate of new business is.
I was thinking of flushing it directly down the toilet or lighting it on fire, but I have decided instead I'll just open a restaurant today.
Which, is kind of the same thing at this point.
It's more efficient this way.
I do wonder what the rate of new business is. I mean, it has to have tanked. Right,
I can't imagine.
But I wonder what it was
right now,
and then what it looks like now.
And then, especially white market businesses, which is the only thing you'd have money for.
Yeah.
Just out of like pure being obnoxious and spiteful. If I was opening a business right now, I don't think I'd go fill out there. Just like no.
Yeah.
Because it's like it's illegal anyway. What am I filling out this form for?
Yeah. Well, and also if you're opening a new business, you can get away with the ignorance part, right? So if you open a business, let's say it's a restaurant, and some inspector comes and is like, oh, you didn't get a license. Here's a fine, right? Oftentimes that fine is less expensive than having to go and get the license in the first. Now, you still probably have to go and get the license to avoid getting thrown in jail or more fines and that kind of a thing. But, that's certainly a strategy that could be employed. So anyway, Mr. Kennedy, the owner of this place, said his team of 45 people actually asked him to reopen the restaurant, just as he did in protest back on Memorial Day. So this guy did open his restaurant during the original lockdown in protest over the Memorial Day weekend, but then eventually did shut it down. They've asked him to reopen, and so he said, we're going to make a stand, and if we're going to have to close our doors anyways, why not go out swinging?
And it's a good point.
Yeah.
Hell yeah. Because and
it would be nice to see more people do this. Like, realize what's happening. You're going to lose the business anyway. You may as well at least fight for it.
Well, and I think the longer this goes on, remember to the 2 weeks, everyone? 2 weeks to flatten the curve. Yeah. No, it's been months now. What I think somebody could have had a baby in the time these lockdowns have started.
It's pretty much exactly 9 months in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
It's a few days short of that.
So as these businesses get closer and closer to permanently closing, I think more and more people are going to realize that, hey, you know what? If I'm going down with a fight. 855-450-3733 is our phone number. We'll get to your calls and your thoughts and a whole lot more. This is Free Talk Live.
Freedom! Freedom is the call of the untamed Scotsman and all others that want to feel the wind under their kilts.
At Free Talk Live, we love the breezy, swinging feeling that only a kilt from Sport Kilt can give.
We teamed up with Sport Kilt to let you experience their form of freedom at a discount. Go to kilts.freetalklive.com and see a picture of Richie and me in our kilts.
And then head over to sportkilt.com. Get some stylish freedom for yourself and use code FTL for a 10% discount. Sportkilt.com.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Is spreading the message of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace around the globe worth $2 per month to you? As you may already know, in addition to our internet feed, LRN.FM broadcasts on free-to-air satellite across North and Central America, as well as Sub-Saharan Africa. And we've been available on satellite for free 24/7 since 2010. The LRN.FM free-to-air satellite signal is reaching some of the most oppressive regimes in the world, and there's no doubt our ideas are making an impact. You can learn more about the channel's impact by watching the 3-minute video at fund.lrn.fm. If you'd like to help free minds globally with our ideas of liberty, cryptocurrency, and peace, you can donate as little as $2 per month via fund.lrn.fm. You can help us continue and expand our satellite broadcast to multiple continents. Visit fund.lrn.fm today, and thank you for your help. Don't forget to share the link on social media. That's fund.lrn.fm.
Are you tired of governments murdering people around the world? Stop using their money. There is an alternative. Bitcoin is a stateless, free market, non-political currency. Bitcoin cannot be inflated or controlled by any government. By using their money, you are helping the state. Stop doing it. You have an incredible alternative available now. Learn it, use it, spread it. Get started with Bitcoin at bitcoin.com. That's bitcoin.com.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get 1 free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm.
I've been told no in many different ways.
I give you an order and you're going to obey it.
George, you can go this way.
You can't do that and you have to leave here.
You cannot bring signs into the rally.
Walk with me. Well, I'm comfortable here, actually. Whoa, Hey. Who do you think Excuse me.
There is no video and audio allowed in this office.
No, I have work today.
You ain't going to make it.
Wait a minute.
Whoa.
Hey! Oh my God! Unbelievable!
Why are you running from me?
Because you scared me.
What
am I being detained for?
You're being served.
What is this?
You're being served.
What is this? Bureaucrats have a funny way of telling people no.
That's the sound of the men working on the chain.
Derek J's Victimless Crime Spree. Watch it for free and order the Director's Cut DVD at victimlesscrimespree.com.
Now you can follow LRN.FM on the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm.
Yes, come on and give a call. 855-450-3733 is our telephone number here at Free Talk Live. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. In the studio tonight, it is myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass, and joining me, it's
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And we have been talking about this article from Q13 Fox out of the Seattle, Washington area about a restaurant in Port Orchard, which is about an hour-ish, hour and a half outside of Seattle, who has decided to open anyway because, well, his business is going under and the owner would rather go out swinging, quote unquote. And we'll get more into the details there as we go on through the night. But first, let us do what we do here on Free Talk Live and go to some of your calls and thoughts. We have Jerome calling from South Carolina. Jerome, you're on Free Talk Live.
Well, look who's tested positive. Well.
Let me guess, a goat.
Look who's tested positive.
A papaya.
A papaya? A banana?
A mango?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I got your papaya. Or a papaya head. Yeah, his head is shaped like a papaya.
Who tested positive, Jerome? Lay it on us. Tell our listeners.
Rudolph Giuliani, former mayor of the great state of New York.
Now,
isn't that amazing?
Now, isn't he...
I take contention with your use of the word great in that sentence, but go on.
Trump's low dingleberry. Rudolph Giuliani is tested positive. And you know what? he's an old fart, so he's got to be real careful.
Well, I was going to say,
Never know, man.
Jerome, isn't rude guy Giuliani? Isn't he the lawyer heading up the Trump's unelection campaign?
Oh yeah, just going oh so well, right? It's going oh so well, so spiritually well, right? Have they found any election fraud yet, other than themselves?
Like in general, or in this particular election?
I mean, all elections are a fraud, in my opinion, but
there is always election fraud. The question is how much, and no one wants to answer it.
Yeah. As Melanie said, like in general, or is it just this election?
Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
No, absolutely. There is absolutely election fraud every single year.
So, wait, my understanding
it changes how much, but
my understanding is Rude Man Giuliani is he's the attorney in charge of Trump's unelection campaign. Is he actually holding any public office right now?
Hey, let me tell you this: between bald head, hair dye Giuliani and fat, overweight, fat pig Barr, Matlock was a better damn lawyer than them, okay? And he wasn't even a real lawyer. Okay?
Hey, man, don't be dissing Andy Griffith.
What do you mean real lawyer?
Perry Mason was a better lawyer than them, and he wasn't even a real... Hey, when I got Peter Falk to play on TV, the character he played the cop, he was a better cop and a lawyer than those guys are.
Yeah, I mean, as far as I'm concerned, politicians can, take a long walk off a short pier.
Every last one of them.
People that support that, and the people that support that, they're like dumber than dumb. What's that movie, Dumb and Dumber? No, they're dumb and dumber, and dumber than that. That's the new movie they should put out.
I think you're thinking of Idiocracy.
Macho Camacho.
Anything else on your mind tonight, Jerome?
No, but
Hey, Jerome.
Hey,
Jerome. You want to take bets on whether he lives through this? Because I'm betting he does.
You got 20 on it, Jerome?
Is he gonna get? He probably may, because he got like.
I bet you he lives.
If they gave Trump 25 doctors, he'll probably get 50 doctors, because that's his right hand. That's his right hand man, if you know what I mean.
All right. Thanks for the call tonight, Jerome. We appreciate it. Rude Man Giuliani apparently has tested positive for the COVID now.
And it doesn't look like he has any actual office at the moment.
Okay. I thought he didn't, because I didn't think he could function as an attorney for Trump's unelection campaign if he held office for some reason. I thought there would be some conflict of interest there.
I'm pretty
somehow.
sure you're right there.
So it would have surprised me.
I'm pretty sure you're not allowed to be like the mayor of someone's town and their lawyer at the same time.
Right. Well, and we all know that these tests can yield a false positive rather easily.
It's more like a magic 8-ball than a test, per se.
I'm a big fan of the magic 8-ball, so it's
but do you bring it to a hospital and be like, I need to use this to diagnose people? Or do you sit at home and be like, this is fun?
I do not bring it to the hospital, no.
What do I have to gain by using it as a test at the hospital?
I don't know. They'll probably just kick you out. But
Could I somehow gain, say, totalitarian control over the entire country and thus the planet by using my magic 8-ball at the hospital?
I mean, probably not, no.
Well, that's because I just don't have the scheme that they do.
It would be really interesting, though, to take folks as they're getting admitted to a hospital or as they're taking these PCR tests for the COVID, and then to, like, as they come, Bob Smith? Okay. And then you shake the 8-ball. Does Bob have the COVID? And then record the results of the magic 8-ball versus the results of the actual PCR test and see how far off they are. That would be fun. I would like to see, because I would be willing to bet that they're about the same.
You might well be right there. So the trick is you've just got to keep asking the 8-ball until it says yes. And that's the difference between your PCR 30 tests and your PCR 40 tests is how many times do we have to ask the 8-ball?
Well, sometimes that magic 8-ball, it gives you the vague answer. instead of,
try again later.
Try again later.
It's hazy.
Results are hazy or something like that. Yeah.
I'm pretty sure there's an equivalent of
Something
that.
about
Like
unclear.
Well, we seem to have some mixed results in your COVID test.
Yes.
There's a contaminated sample. I mean, results are hazy. Please try again later.
All right. Well, circling back to this article about this restaurant in Port Orchard, Washington, the restaurant owner says, we're going to make a stand, and why not go out swinging? He mentioned that most of his staff are also in some form of rehabilitation program, and he's worried about them having a relapse while struggling to make ends meet because folks in rehab generally are less employable than other folks, and so if they lose their income, obviously, and they're, addicted to something or another, that certainly puts them further at risk. He says it's not fair to them. It's not fair to their families. They don't deserve to be in arrears on their rent and not be able to support their family. Well, that applies to anybody, in my opinion. One by one, customers help themselves to a table that one place provided throughout the day. There's a lot of restaurants that are starting to say, the heck with it, and they're opening up, and I absolutely support them. I've got a list of the ones that are doing it, and every morning I'm going to have breakfast and show my support, said customer dine-in Dave McMullen. I also like that the customers are willing to give out their names. I'm assuming this is the guy's actual name.
Yeah, good for him.
And he's also, he's supporting this restaurant. He's supportive of their decision to remain open, and he's willing to stand up and say, yes, I'm going to come and I'm going to show my support by dining at this particular establishment.
And I mean, there really comes a point where you have to say enough is enough. We're going to live our lives. We're going to have events. We're going to have restaurants. We're going to have human life and go to the park and go camping and breathe oxygen unencumbered. At some point, you have to just say, no, this is enough.
I mean, that time is now. If it wasn't, 8 months ago, 9 months ago, it certainly is now, in my opinion.
Well, and it's another one of those things where this worked so well last year. Let's try it again next year. The war on drugs, the war on terror, the mask mandates, the shutdowns. They worked so well. Let's try them again.
Yeah, an endless list of hobgoblins and fear boogeyman type things to keep the populace all in a frenzy so that they can continue to exert more control. 855 450 free. We've got more Free Talk Live coming up.
Hi, I'm Dan Pilla. I started fighting the IRS over 40 years ago when they tried to seize my mother's house. I sued the IRS and won. I beat the IRS then, and I've been beating them ever since. I wrote the book on tax debt settlement, and I've helped thousands of people deal with tax problems they thought might never be solved. I can help you too. If you owe taxes you can't pay, don't wait another day. There's no such thing as a hopeless tax case. Call 800-34-NO-TAX or go to my website, danpilla.com. That's danpilla.com, danpilla.com.
The stress levels of Americans may be at an all-time high. From education to business to basic needs to politics, the 2020 pandemic-related stressors are pushing many of us to near breaking point. That's why you should consider the stress and pain-relieving products from sunny-bay.com, like our lavender neck wraps and pads infused with premium Washington lavender buds. They relieve tension and relax with a soothing scent of lavender. And lifestyle expert Jennifer Bonner recommends products from Sunny Bay.
Sunny Bay's hands-free neck wrap should be your go-to pain relief solution.
Give gifts to family and friends that relieve stress and pain. Give love and care by giving the best. Give pillows, neck wraps, and body wraps from sunny-bay.com, a Biomed DB design company. Just click sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com.
Silver has always been nature's very own antibiotic, and only one system allows you to generate an endless supply of natural silver solutions. SilverLungs.com. You'll find no wild claims or pseudoscience, just a lifetime of nano-sized pure silver solutions. The Silver Lungs generator allows you to make your own, so stop paying for silver solutions. The unique lung delivery system targets respiratory infections where other silver solutions simply cannot reach. See the Silver Lungs generator and lung delivery system at SilverLungs.com. That's SilverLungs.com.
On Free Talk Live, we're bringing people to the ideas of liberty every day. From wrestling superstars like Glenn Jacobs.
You guys really are having an impact, I believe. Like I said, a lot of where I am now is due to listening to Free Talk Live. You changed my mind on some very important issues years ago.
To random people tuning in on the radio.
I was kind of stuck in the left-right paradigm. I heard your show by chance on a Saturday night. From there, I went on, joined the Free State Project, and become an amplifier. So, I mean, that's really the reason why I amp is because I know that if it wasn't for you guys being on as many stations as you are, I never would have found the ideas of liberty.
Your amp will directly change more lives by getting Free Talk Live in front of people looking for talk radio online and on the air. When you amp Free Talk Live, you get perks like access to the AMP-only Facebook group and AMP podcast. Visit amp.freetalklive.com. So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. So you've signed the Shire Society Declaration and are planning your move to New Hampshire to be around more liberty-oriented people. Next, sign up for the Shire Society Forum at forum.shiresociety.com. There are a bunch of people there who are already in the Shire, and they want to meet you. If you're already in the Shire physically, you should also come by the forums. Remember, not everyone uses Facebook. New people are signing up for the Shire Society Forum every month, so drop in and say hello at forum.shiresociety.com.
This is the Liberty Radio Network, broadcasting the latest liberty-oriented audio content 24 hours a day at LRN.FM.
Yes, welcome back to Free Talk Live, the Sunday night edition. Our toll-free number here is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE as in freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And we were talking about this article from Q13 Fox News out of Port Orchard, Washington. A restaurateur has decided to stand up and say, I'm going to stay open regardless of your mandates, Mr. Government. And we'll continue talking about that. We have some calls on hold. We'll get to those in a bit. But first, I wanted to tell you that you've heard us talk about Divi here on Free Talk Live, and maybe you've wanted to set up one of their easy-to-deploy masternodes or stake Divi so that you can begin earning Divi right now. Ian says setting up a Divi masternode was super easy and staking was even easier. We're not investment advisors here on Free Talk Live, but we think you will be impressed with your earning potential with Divi as compared to traditional investment vehicles. Go to diviproject.org and get started. You can buy Divi at several exchanges or directly from the Divi team. If you need help, there's a link to their Telegram channel right on the front page at diviproject.org. That's DIVI project.org. We'll get back to this article about this restaurateur in Port Orchard, Washington in just a moment. But first, let's go to some of your calls and thoughts. We have Padraig calling from New Mexico. You're on Free Talk Live.
The Captain Divi and Reverend Bitcoin. I'm just asking. I'm making a joke. Don't get upset.
Now, what's on your mind tonight?
Jerome called.
You offend me, sir.
I know. I seem to do that. That's why I avoid calling or talking to anybody, period. I was born in Ireland. I'm an immigrant. We immigrated when I was 6.
Uh-huh.
I finally saved up enough money to get a piece of property, and I'm kind of a farmer.
Okay.
And when Jerome calls, and I agree with about 97% of what you guys talk about.
Okay.
But when Jerome calls, he's putting down 70 million people, or plus or minus, give a few thousand. Okay?
Right.
And I appreciate that he calls and he wants to make fun of the president and stuff. And I don't like any of them. I've voted in every single election that was one of my duties as a citizen in America, was to vote and make choices, to try to get all the information I could and make a good choice. And when Jerome calls, he puts down the president, but he's still the president until January 20th. And whether I like him or not, I get tired of elections because my mailbox is stuffed full of crap or stuff. I can't say crap on the radio, but
you can, and it's too late.
That I've never met. But every time I pay my property taxes, I'm paying for their retirements, I'm paying for their vision, I'm paying for their dental, I'm paying their everything for all these elected officials.
Yeah, aren't you tired of that?
Help me pick one weed, not help me plant one seed, but always want to take what I have, what little I make.
Yeah,
they want to take it away for their benefit.
Yeah, more for them, less for you. That's how it is.
And I don't know how to stop it. I mean, I see where you guys. I like being independent. I think that's what America was about. That we were going to be independent and each man was free.
It's supposed to be.
To work his land or whatever. Now I got people that don't even own property voting to raise taxes on my property.
Right.
I don't have children, but I'm paying for their children to go to school. No teachers are teaching. No buses are running, but we had a mill levy override the last election.
Yeah, you certainly don't get any of your tax money back in that respect, right? If the schools are closed in your area.
Government for one thing. I've got a check that I got from the IRS one time. It was $2.03. It was several years ago, and I still have it. I never cashed it because I thought, wow, I got something back from the government. I've never asked for
It's the only time you've gotten anything from the government, really.
I know it. Just to leave, I get a hard time from them, believe it or not. I do.
Other than a hard
and when
time.
you talk about law enforcement and stuff like that, I used to be a law enforcement officer, and I could see why they get a bad rap. I can see that. They are. Do you think the politicians, Giuliani or any of those guys, I don't care, Cuomo, Michelle Lujan Grisham, because I'm from New Mexico, would go into a restaurant and shut those people down? They don't.
No, absolutely not. And they're overplaying their hand right now in a lot of places. A lot of governors are saying, we're going to arrest you if you do X, Y, Z. And the cops are like, no, we ain't. Have fun.
I know that they give all this money away. They just print it up, but nobody ever, I never seem to see a nickel of it. But I'm paying the system.
It is truly astonishing that they can spend, I mean, the estimates vary between like $2 and $9 trillion for the CARES Act, and such an absolute pittance goes to us.
Yeah, I know. It's like they steal 90 cents on the dollar for themselves and their friends.
Oh, I wish it was
whoever,
90 cents on the dollar.
And they throw us a little bone every once in a while to get a vote. I mean,
man, we'd be rich if we got
insanity.
10 cents out of every dollar they spent on that bill alone.
I don't know how the American people can keep on keeping on voting for these idiots.
Well, I don't know that they are.
Sadly, I do. I mean, the thing is, they think that idiot is worse than this idiot. And as long as they can get tricked into that idiot is worse than this idiot, well, I better vote for this idiot because he's not as bad as that idiot.
I don't have any faith that federal elections are real.
Yeah.
So
I don't have any faith that any election is real.
I mean, I didn't before Trump, honestly.
Small village and it's corrupt.
Hey, Padraig, thanks for the call tonight. I appreciate it. I am, at my wit's end with all of it, really. I mean, the system obviously isn't designed for what they tell you it is when you go to school, or even for Padraig, what they tell you it is when he goes through his citizenship process as a person who immigrated from another country. So, what do you do about it? That's a good question. Give us a call at 855-450-3733 and tell us, what do we do about it? Continuing on, let's go to Pat calling from Michigan. Pat, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Good evening, gentlemen, and my lady, Miss Melanie.
Hey.
I'm going to make a statement about lawyers and liars. I don't want you to take insult to it.
I'm not a practicing lawyer, so whatever.
Okay. Go ahead, Pat.
All right. Well, you've been through the training, and that's part of the precept that I have to discuss. But my first issue I want to touch on is you guys were talking about nobody having cojones enough to open up new businesses.
Well, it's not about cojones. It's really about being smart, right? I think the smart people.
Well,
I would absolutely not open a new business right now.
If you see a niche and you jump into it, you might very well prosper.
Like the only business right now, Pat, right now, the only business that I think that I've seen that has opened since the COVID lockdowns and the government mandates is the mask manufacturers, right? These customized masks that people are making. That's the only business that I think is, successful since COVID.
Right. I understand your precept and you're looking at the broad view, but I got a buddy that has been in the pizza business for 30 years.
Okay.
And he's had more than one successful store, but he's always been working under somebody else's heel. All right. So what he's going to do is open up a pizza business that slings all the normal stuff, subs and the hoagies and all that, but it's all going to be non-GMO flour. And I don't know if he's going to go full organic or not, but he's going to offer a wide array of health food type oriented fast food that can come right to your door. Now that is awesome. And just in the precept itself.
Okay.
It's not offered.
I mean, I live in a small town in New Hampshire, and I mean, I can get pretty much whatever I want delivered to my door. I can get groceries delivered to my door. I can get a variety of different foods. I don't know if I can get specifically health food. Well, at least not late at night, but during the day, I certainly can.
Yeah, they come to your door till 2 in the morning. And, people are hungry for reality. And I don't know, I've called into you guys before.
Yeah.
And the telomere is the end of the helix. And on the end is the fire plug of all of our genes is selenium. And this thing can only come from outer space. It only lands in a few places on Earth. So most of the population is depleted.
Hey, thanks for the call, Pat. We appreciate it. 855-450-3733. More Free Talk Live is coming your way.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now is your chance to be a part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for people to use it for everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that is as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
The new 4th edition of Healing Our World, The Compassion of Libertarianism, will take your understanding of liberty to a deeper level and has over 1,300 updated references, new cartoons, and a foreword by Dr. Ron Paul. With discounts for multiple book purchases, the 4th edition of Healing Our World is a great gift for the liberals, pragmatists, environmentalists, and Christians in your life who think libertarianism is cold-hearted. Get yours today at healing.freetalklive.com and use promo code FTL for a $5 discount. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 2 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Stamps.com brings the post office and UPS shipping right to your computer. Go to Stamps.com to start a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with promo code FOX. That's Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the page and type in FOX.
Georgia's runoff races may be getting more heated tonight. I'm Joe Giro, Fox News. Georgia remains the focus of national politics as its 2 runoff races for U.S. Senate seats will determine the balance of power. A debate between 2 of the candidates getting underway now. President Trump was in Georgia last night campaigning for the Republican candidates in the tight races,
which puts Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler against Democrats John Ossoff and Reverend Raphael Warnock. President Trump encouraged his supporters to get out and vote for the incumbent Republican senators, a move he said would prevent Democrats from stealing another election.
Fox's Charles Watson. That debate getting underway between Loeffler and Warnock can be seen on the Fox News channel. President Trump says his personal attorney, Rudy Giuliani, has tested positive for coronavirus.
No new update from the White House itself. New York Times is reporting that Mayor Giuliani is recovering at Georgetown University Medical Center. The word, first of all, this came down from the president himself. Where else but Twitter earlier this afternoon? He wrote, Rudy Giuliani, by far the greatest mayor in the history of New York City and who has been working tirelessly exposing the most corrupt election in the history of the country, has tested positive for the China virus. Get better soon, Rudy. We will carry on.
Fox's Mark Meredith. HHS Secretary Alex Azar calling COVID-19 vaccines the light at the end of the tunnel. And he says they'll be distributed quickly after approval.
What I've always said is high tens of millions of doses of FDA gold standard vaccine by the end of the year. We'll have that. We'll have 40 million releasable as well as a comparable amount that will be going through final quality control for release in January. And then hundreds of millions of doses from multiple manufacturers as we go into next year.
Azar on Fox News Sunday. The FDA meets this week to determine whether to approve the Pfizer vaccine. America is listening to Fox News.
You've had enough to deal with this year, so don't overthink your holiday gifts. Since we've all been living in our sweatpants anyway, it's time for some pro-level Tommy John loungewear. I'm Erin Fujimoto, co-founder of Tommy John, and this year we're making sure you can give the gift of comfort to everyone on your list and yourself with Tommy John men's and women's loungewear. Say goodbye to old stained sweatpants. Tommy John loungewear is luxuriously soft and guaranteed to fit perfectly, with the same level of comfort and innovation that goes into everything we make. Plus, our loungewear, pajamas, and underwear come in limited edition prints perfect for gifting, but they sell out quick, so order soon.
And there's no risk with Tommy John's best pair you'll ever wear or it's free guarantee. Order now. Go to TommyJohn.com/Fox News for $20 off site-wide for a limited time only. Get $20 off for a limited time at TommyJohn.com/Fox News. TommyJohn.com/Fox News. See site for details.
A Pennsylvania man took to social media to get help for his seriously ill mother.
Sean Ryder, whose mother's been battling COVID-19, took matters into his own hands this week, turning to Facebook to find a hospital with an ECMO machine to help his mother. She contracted the coronavirus in mid-November and has been on a ventilator. But her condition worsened, and doctors said she needed an ECMO machine, something Hanover Hospital didn't have. Well, a nurse at York Hospital saw his Facebook plea and fast-tracked it to a doctor at her hospital who set up the transfer. While Karen Ryder has not needed the ECMO machine, she's made some small improvements but remains in serious condition. Ryder says he went public with his case to call attention to the seriousness of the virus. Sue Guzman,
I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
Later in the hour, the U.S. Postal Service announces that you can deliver the mail yourself if you think it's so easy. But first up in health news, researchers from Harvard University have found a strong link between male virility and wearing Motley Crue denim jackets. For the study, researchers paired fans of the band with a control group and found that those wearing Motley Crue attire were far more likely to knock out some chick's totally jacked boyfriend and then do it with her later that same day than those who simply wore casual clothes and probably wouldn't know what it feels like to have 2 threesomes in one night.
Men who own jackets with an image of Tommy Lee and Nikki Sixx sitting on top of a pair of breasts with nipples in the shape of pentagrams showed higher levels of sexual potency, endurance, and libido. These guys do it all the time, and sometimes even in public. They don't care.
Although the study primarily focused on men in Motley Crue jackets, researchers also found that men who listened to Nirvana had a high likelihood of staying virgins forever.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. It is Free Talk Live. It's the live Sunday night edition. What the heck am I doing here? Where's Mark? Well, he's
That should be a show, like where they had, when I was a kid, they had like Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego?
Where in the world is Mark Edge?
Where is Mark Edge? Please call in with your guesses.
Indeed. He is off gallivanting. I just like to use that word. I don't know what gallivanting actually means, but
well, it sounds very heroic.
It sounds like something Mark would do. He seems like a gallivanter, or one who gallivants. At any rate, so I'm substitute Mark tonight. I am the Reverend Captain Kickass. Joining me in studio, it's
Beakless Mountaineer
and Melanie.
And we will continue talking about this business in Port Orchard, Washington, who has decided to stay open in defiance of the lockdowns. But first, let's go to the folks who have been waiting patiently on hold. Let's go to Hugh in Tennessee. Hugh, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hey, how's it going, guys?
Pretty good, Hugh. What's on your mind?
I just wanted to call in and let you guys know that I've been listening for a little while now, on and off, about a year and a half, and I just really enjoy the show. You guys, you keep it kind of upbeat and light-hearted, even though you talk about some serious topics. So you do a real good job of entertaining folks, and it's fun. It's fun to hear and listen to and all that good stuff.
Well, we appreciate you listening.
Yeah, thank you very much. And it is important to keep in mind that, like, you can't lose your sense of humor. I mean, as bad as things can get, you've got to hold on to that because, I mean, that's a really big part of your humanity. And, I mean, if you lose your humanity, then the terrorists win, so to speak. I mean, honestly, like, all of this is mostly done for our reaction. I mean, it's all emotional manipulation. And the thing that really gets you out of being easily manipulated in your emotions is a little bit of humor. Like, it gets you out of that fear circuit that puts you in fight or flight mode.
Indeed.
Well, that's a lot of the problems we have lately are just because we forgot how to laugh at stuff. I mean, people take things so serious nowadays that if you just laugh at it,
and
it's like,
and I got to say, that is one of the things that surprised me about a lot of people's response to Trump. How is no one thinking this is hilarious?
I thought it was great. I thought Trump being there was fantastic. I mean, we don't know what he's doing.
I'm not saying you have to think he's a good person. He's not. But he's funny. You have to admit the man's entertaining.
Yeah, one of my friends has, he doesn't like politicians at all. And he goes, I will admit that Trump's presidency is one of the most entertaining things I have ever seen in my entire life.
I mean, he's a terrible president like most of them, but he is a top-notch entertainer.
But to me, see, that was one of the best things about Trump, was he's not a politician. You know, he didn't care to walk in there and drop F-bombs when they needed to be dropped. That's what we needed. Somebody going there.
And I think that's part of what got him elected is he doesn't do the whole PC speech pattern thing.
Right. I mean, you can hear my drawl. You see where I'm from. I don't really talk all that well. I'm more educated than I sound, but I'm okay with that. And folks look at me like I'm stupid because they hear my voice and everything else.
You're doing just fine.
I love it. The look on their face when the topic changes and suddenly I know what I'm talking about. It's fun. And it's fun for me. I like to laugh too, and I love laughing at them because they think, well, this guy's dumber than a box of rocks, and then all of a sudden I spit out something intelligent, and they're like, whoa, where'd that come from? It's great.
Anything else on your mind tonight, Hugh?
It's just, when did we stop knowing how to laugh at stuff? It's not your opinion don't matter that much, and somebody else has got one too, and it stinks just as bad as yours does.
Well, I think a lot of it's because they're trying to force opinions on people. And once you start,
that's the thing. And you're exactly right. You got your opinion, I got mine. Guess what? The world still goes around. It's just like the transgender deal and the gays and that. I'm not gay. I'm not transgender. But I don't care who he is. I got a buddy of mine I've known since 4th grade. I'm 38 years old. I've known him since 4th grade. He came out and told me that he's a bisexual male, and he was afraid to tell me for years because he thought I had a problem with it. I'm like, dude, I don't care. He doesn't change who you are.
Yeah, as long as he's not harming you or your family or anybody else, right? Do whatever you want, right?
Yeah, that's what I told him. I said, don't look at me like I'm a piece of meat. Don't treat me no different. I'm not going to treat you no different. You're you, I'm me. Just because you got a different view, that's why we're not clones. Hey, everybody's got differences. If you can look past them and get beyond it, everybody's going to be a whole lot better.
I love it. Hugh, thanks for the call tonight. Oh, yeah, go ahead.
I got one question for you. You were talking about earlier about that guy going to keep his restaurant open.
Yep.
I'm interested to know, because I don't know, with the mandates and all that, with there not being laws, it's just a mandate, what kind of punishment does he face by doing that?
Well, so far, it's license suspension. Now, that means he will lose his liquor license and his business license. And if he stays open after that, then, of course, we know how the laws work. Eventually,
torture.
They will send armed thugs, a.k.a. police, to, either arrest him, and throw him in jail, and then, take him to court and, give him all sorts of different punishments. If he resists that, of course, they purport the authority to kill him over just merely wanting to keep his business open. So,
and that's ridiculous. I mean, the man's just trying to feed his family. Look, guys, I got 10 kids at home. All right, I have 10 kids.
That's
I know what it's like to try to.
Busy dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he did nothing wrong. It's not like he did something to get laid off, didn't apply for new jobs, sat around. Like, he had a business, and then overnight the government was like, this whole industry is illegal, and so are 6 others. It's like, well, okay, now you're out of job, and all the other jobs you could have applied for are illegal. So what's your options?
It's funny how like anyone else does that to you, you can sue them, but the government does that to them, you're SOL.
Go ahead, Hugh.
But they're not shutting down Applebee's, they're not shutting down Walmart. I can go to Walmart right now and get anything I want.
Yeah, weird, huh?
It's almost like the big corporations are somehow influencing the government, as if they were like paying politicians off or something.
Hey, thanks for the call tonight, Hugh. We appreciate you. Thanks for listening. Let's go to Bob in Missouri. Bob, you're on Free Talk Live. What's on your mind?
Well, this is Bob Mundy. They call me the voice of the Ozarks, and tomorrow I'm going to be singing for Pearl Harbor Memorial in Branson, Missouri. There's been a terrible price paid that we can have this free talk here on this radio. Where are you all located, by the way?
We're broadcasting from New Hampshire.
Oh, goodness sakes. Well, God loves you Yankees a whole bunch, probably more than some of us hillbillies down here. But I'm kind of concerned about this stolen election. I don't know about you all. You're probably not old enough, but I got grandkids, and I've lived the American dream.
Okay.
It's been so exciting traveling across America since I was 13 years old in the music business and also the ministry. And I, for one, I truly believe that they go after this First and Second Amendment. Now, down here, the masking in Springfield, Missouri, there's been 1,400 rat outs about the mask.
Snitches?
They're not arrested. Go ahead, sir.
I'm sorry, you're talking about snitches, people who have reported people not wearing masks, right?
Yeah, but they didn't give any tickets so far. And they've destroyed about a third of the restaurants in Springfield and Branson, Missouri. They've destroyed the arts, painting, singing, the sports, it looks like a conditioning to take us down from this great capitalistic republic that you all, I'm sure you love. I know I do. But I'd like to see our grandkids be able to have that American dream of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Well, I think a capitalist republic is worth trying.
I appreciate so much.
I've never seen it.
Well, yeah, I appreciate what Trump has stood by. I've lost probably 300 Democrats, friends in the music business, Nashville and other places, over this very, very thing. But I don't want to live in a socialistic, communistic, fascistic state.
Hey, I don't either, but Bob, can you hang on and we'll bring you back? Can you hold?
Please.
All right, thanks. 855-450-3733. We'll have more with Bob coming up here on Free Talk Live.
Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com. Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions, or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Every year, over 1 million fires burn in America. Fortunately, firefighters are on the job, saving life and property, and you can be a part of it. 7 out of 10 firefighters and emergency responders are volunteers. There's no typical firefighter. Anyone can volunteer to serve their community. Volunteering as a first responder is really about having the heart and drive to make a difference where it's needed most. Your community needs you. Are you ready to answer the call? Learn more and find local volunteer opportunities at makemeafirefighter.org.
The Free State Project has reached its goal of 20,000 liberty lovers who've pledged to move to New Hampshire and get active to achieve liberty in our lifetime. Perhaps you're trying to figure out what part of New Hampshire should be your destination. If so, consider Keene. You'll find more than 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com. Keene is famous for its historic, publicity-generating activism, as well as being the liberty media capital of the world. It's home to freekeene.com, New Hampshire's destination for liberty activism, news, and opinion. For years, we've been compiling over 150 reasons to move to Keene at move.freekeene.com, where you'll learn about some of what's happening here and what makes Keene a great place to live. If you love liberty, you'll probably enjoy anywhere you end up in the Shire. But do your due diligence first. Please visit move.freekeene.com for the full list of over 150 reasons to move to Keene. That's move.freekeene.com. The LRN.FM social media channels have been revamped. We've eliminated Facebook and focused on other platforms like Twitter and Mastodon, the decentralized alternative to Twitter. On our accounts, you'll find posts from multiple LRN.FM show hosts together in one place. Follow us on Twitter at twitter.lrn.fm, or better yet, move to the decentralized Mastodon social media platform at toot.lrn.fm, toot.lrn.fm. I think you'll like it.
Cell 411 is a free app for Android and iOS that replaces government-controlled 911. Cell 411 allows you to preset a group of friends or private organizations to show up at any emergency. Cell 411 is a nightmare for the state because it proves their so-called services aren't needed. Cell 411 has had thousands of installs, and of course it's covered by the BIPCOT no government license. Cell 411 because your friends won't shoot you when you're in trouble. Without the government, who would build the emergency services? You and Cell 411. Get it today at getcell411.com.
You can sign up to receive the latest about the Liberty Radio Network via our email updates at updates.lrn.fm. That's updates.lrn.fm.
Yes, it is Free Talk Live. Welcome back to the show, everybody. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, as in freedom. You can call in, take control of the airwaves, talk about anything you would like to talk about. We were talking in the previous segment with a gentleman named Bob from Missouri. We'll get back to his call in just a moment. In the studio tonight, I am your host. I'm filling in for Mark Edge. People commonly refer to me as the captain. And joining me, it's
Faithless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And we've been talking about this article from Port Orchard, Washington, about yet another business who is standing up amidst all of these government mandates to keep his business open and to keep his employees employed. And we'll circle back and talk more about that. But first, let's go back to our caller, Bob from Missouri. Thanks for staying on hold, Bob. Now, Bob,
well, it's an honor to be on here with you all. I was at the city council meeting for Springfield, Missouri, which happens to be the Buckle on the Bible Belt, the World Headquarters Assemblies of God, Baptist Bible Fellowship went here. But I also mentioned about the COVID-19 shot. Allegedly, it has nanotechnology in it, which will change your RNA. That's a delivery system of the main things, and they can virtually change your mind, allegedly. I'm going to be careful with that word.
Okay.
Formaldehyde, aborted baby parts are in there. Also thimerosal mercury, aluminum. And I'm not going to be taking that shot. I am told now that I can't go to Jerusalem and sing without showing that I've taken that shot. I've been invited there.
Yes, your papers, please, Bob. You must have your papers before you can sing.
Is that a Jerusalem? Is that a Jerusalem? Is that a Jerusalem rule or is that a U.S. rule?
A U.S. rule, and they can shove it up.
So they won't let you get on the plane?
No, you cannot. I cannot use a passport to go anywhere if I don't have documentation that I've had that shot.
Yeah, I've seen that they have already produced these vaccine kits. And so when you do, if you do, get the injection, then they present you with this card that says, yes, I have had my injection on this date at this time at this place, et cetera, and so on. And that is going to be the equivalent of your medical passport. Now,
you see, that's not unusual, because like when I was a kid and we had shots, you had a card. I mean, because before you had an online thing to log on to, you had a card and it was like, okay, you had this and then this is due on this date, and then you would give that to the school. So that part doesn't really strike me. It strikes me as low tech, but other than that, that part is normal.
Right, but that's to prove that you've had the vaccine in order to do things like Bob is trying to do, which is fly somewhere else to go sing, right? Where they're going to require you to have had the vaccine, the shot, in order to do things, in order to operate as a human being, whereas if you aren't able to produce that card. My question with this whole situation with producing these papers is, what are they going to do about the people who've had the COVID and got over it already? Are they just going to issue them cards with some arbitrary date and time? Have they even thought about this? What are they going to do with those people?
I think we're marching into Revelations. And at that point, don't want to sound like a religious person, even though I minister to veterans and other things.
Yeah.
We'd better get ready. We better have some food, and we better be prepared, because it's not going to get nice here.
Well, these unaccountable thugs do seem to be using that as a blueprint, honestly. They seem to be using the book of Revelations as a blueprint for how they're going to institute their control of people.
And God forbid that we'd have to see another civil war. Right down the street from Springfield is Wilson Creek Battle. Field. I was part of the team that put together a PBS television special with that thing, and it's very sad and sickening. I stood on that hillside with those 90 cannons going off and about 900 horses there, and I wept like a child to think that kind of bloodshed happened in our great country. You know, the blood, December 7th, 1941, tomorrow, memorial. Wow. We better think about this, folks. Thank you, and God bless you all, and God bless America.
Appreciate the call, Bob. Thanks for your listenership and the call tonight. I'm not a religious man myself, so, I take things like that with a bit of a grain of salt, but Bob has some really good points. There generally isn't appreciable political change, historically speaking, without some kind of bloodshed somewhere.
Tends to be the case.
That is accurate.
So,
there's a phrase that has sort of been bouncing around in my mind that I couldn't tell you who said it, but it was those who do not believe in God will seek to become God by force. And it's an interesting thought that, okay, well, what are the attributes of God? Okay, all-knowing, all-seeing, all-powerful, and
omnipotent, right?
Yeah, exactly. Okay, well, what are they doing? Well, the surveillance state is definitely moving in the direction of all-seeing.
Yeah, they're collecting all of the data and storing them in data farms, so all-knowing.
Exactly, all-knowing. They are developing the technology to do non-invasive brain scans for various purposes, so they will have some idea of what you are thinking. So, I mean, really, moving into the all-knowing, all-powerful, they're trying.
Yeah, certainly they can just say whatever they like at this point. And by they, I mean, presidents, governors, mayors, politicians of many different stripes, particularly here in the United States of America. I mean, can just arbitrarily say stuff, write it down on paper, and it goes. Nobody voted on it. It wasn't put through any process of any kind. These are just edicts that people are writing words down, and everybody just goes, oh, well, I guess that's the law now.
I mean, what kind of wizard is it that can write down a little scroll and suddenly no one has a face anymore?
Yeah. Let's continue on with your calls. Let's go to Robert in South Carolina. Robert, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes, a while back you asked if there were a country to which you could go where you wouldn't have to worry about taxes. Well, actually, there are a few of them. One of them is particularly nice, and that's Monaco, Monte Carlo. But as an American, you're not legally allowed to do it as an American, so you just have to give up your American citizenship or never go back to the United States. Or, if you want to be absolutely sure, never cross the borderline back to Europe from the rest of Europe from Monaco, Monte Carlo. And you would work out a special relationship with the government, which it would arrange for you. And it has 60 bank branches from different banks from around the world there in Monaco, Monte Carlo. You put your money in a bank, and the government gets a certain rake off from that money that you put in there, and that's the deal.
Yeah,
that sounds like taxes.
Yeah, so either way, like in order to renounce your citizenship, you have to pay, right?
Right.
And if you don't do that and you go work overseas, you have to pay U.S. taxes in addition to whatever taxes you might be paying elsewhere as well.
If it's more than $25,000, yes, that's correct. But if it's less than $25,000 AGI, then you don't have to.
Thanks for the call today, Robert. We appreciate it. 855-450-3733 is our toll-free number if you'd like to join the conversation. We'll talk more about businesses standing up to the government when we return here on Free Talk Live.
So when we brought him home, we didn't realize that Bear, the rescue dog, was actually sick. He had very flaky skin. He was dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections, special dog food. Nothing seemed to work, so I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
I've been hearing Dinovite on the radio for years. It never actually crossed my mind to try it until it finally sunk in. Oh, you're talking about hair and skin, and all right. I'll try it. Well, it took probably 6 weeks, but after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin, he doesn't scratch and itch, and he started to put weight on.
Dinovite is nutrition.
I wish that we would have started the Dinovite right away. It would have been so much easier.
You won't believe how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
This is Michael Dean from the Freedom Fiends. I've run websites since 1996 and have used over a dozen web hosts in that time. AgristHosting.com is the only one that hasn't broken my heart. Agrist Hosting's uptime and service is stellar, and their DDoS mitigation is the best I've seen. That's important because if you tell the truth in this world, you'll ruffle feathers. And some people will try dirty tricks to silence your voice. No matter what the haters hit us with, Agrist Hosting keeps our websites online. If you have a mission-critical commercial presence or a world-changing activism site, you cannot tolerate any skullduggery. So go with agristhosting.com. Have a WordPress or blog site, but you're not satisfied with performance or uptime? Or just want raw hosting? Want to pay with Bitcoin? Agrist Hosting specializes in high-performance hosting with personalized service. Go to agristhosting.com and click on the button that says Get Hosted. That's agristhosting.com.
Are you a cryptocurrency advocate? The Crypto Tip is the ideal outreach tool to help new people discover cryptocurrency. It's a printable business card-sized tip that you can give to service providers, preferably in addition to a good cash tip. When the server scans the QR code, it'll bring up an explanation of cryptocurrency, how to install a wallet, and allow them to claim the tip. If they don't claim the crypto, you get your tip refunded to you after a time period you specify. Plus, if they do claim the tip, you get an email alert. Create as many tips as you want at cryptotip.org. That's cryptotip.org. There are lots of ways to listen to Free Talk Live. Our podcast has been around since podcasts began, and now the FTL feed is loaded with content besides our full show archives. Did you know that we make it easy for you to customize your podcast subscriptions? We have different feeds, one that includes only our full shows, one with just the Daily Digest, and our main feed that includes everything. You decide what you listen to. It's quick and easy to customize your feeds at feeds.freetalklive.com. That's feeds.freetalklive.com.
We have some good news. The indictments against Ross Ulbricht in the District of Maryland were dismissed with prejudice, meaning they can never be refiled. This is especially good because those indictments contain the only charge ever made that Ross engaged in murder for hire. This was a serious allegation that Ross Ulbricht denies. It was never prosecuted or ruled on by a jury, but was trumpeted by the federal government and the media as if it were proven fact. The Maryland court held these indictments for almost 5 years, poisoning Ross's case and leaving him under a cloud of unproven allegations. As explained in Ross's appeal to the Supreme Court, the fact that the judge used these allegations to give Ross a draconian sentence of double life without parole violated his Sixth Amendment right to a jury trial. Judges are required to issue sentences based on convictions decided by a jury, not unproven allegations never even charged at trial. Although this is a positive development, the dropped indictment will not set Ross free. Now, a presidential pardon is Ross's only hope of freedom. Sign the petition at freeross.org. freeross.org.
What's up next? Visit the Liberty Radio Network program guide to find out at shows.lrn.fm. That's shows.lrn.fm.
Yes, it's your favorite live call-in talk show radio program that's also streaming on some internet, streaming on the internet and on some satellite stations. That's the show known as Free Talk Live. You are listening to it right now. And our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And everyone has their own idea of what freedom is. And for some, freedom is the freedom to swing free like the Scotsmen do.
I advise it highly.
Richie Rich and Mark both got some great kilts from sportkilt.com. You can even see our hosts wearing Sport Kilt's particular form of freedom at kilts.freetalklive.com. You haven't felt freedom until you've worn a kilt from sportkilt.com. And is the Free Talk Live code over? Is the special?
From what I understand, you still get 10% off.
So you can use code FTL, as in Free Talk Live, to enter in as a code during your checkout, and I believe you get 10% off. So sportkilt.com. Now, we've been talking about this article from Q13 Fox. Q13 News witnessed several customers entering and exiting this restaurant without wearing a mask as the business willingly ignored the state's COVID-19 restrictions. Some customers said they questioned more than just the requirements. Inslee, that's the governor, keeps talking about science, but I don't see the science. The science doesn't jive, said dine-in customer Mike Lester. Governor Inslee is not showing us the true numbers, and there is no science, said dine-in customer Helen Lester. I don't know what that means, there is no science. There is science. It does exist.
Well, there is no science to their explanation, I think, is what he's getting at.
Yes. The numbers don't lie. This is the author of the article now. The numbers don't lie. According to the Washington State Department of Health, officials said the number of confirmed and suspected COVID-19 hospital patients have doubled from 471.
How do you have suspected hospital patients? Like, why are they admitting people on suspicion? Like,
yeah, I know.
Oh, well, you look kind of sick. Okay, let's admit you.
You sneezed that one time, and I think I heard you cough, so I suspect.
I mean, wouldn't basically every kind of rudimentary illness be suspected as COVID at this point? Or you have a fever, or you have a
if you're not having
sniffle.
serious symptoms, why are you admitted?
If that was happening, then you would see like a 90-something% decrease in the number of flu cases in South America. Oh,
we did, yeah.
Like,
right.
Right.
Nice. They say it doubled from 471 to 932. And plus, ICU patients have increased 75% during that same period. Despite the Department of Health report, Kennedy said, Kennedy's the owner of this restaurant, that he is going to keep his doors open for good. I'm sure they're going to try and fine us, and I'm sure they're going to take our licenses away. Who knows what from there? But we're prepared, and my community has already bucked up and said if I get a fine, they'll pay for it. It's pretty awesome of his community to do that.
That is truly awesome of his community.
Some loyal customers still ordered their meals to go, but said the food was not worth going inside. I don't understand what...
But then why are you there paying for the food in the first place?
Maybe they're too afraid to defy and they want to support him anyway. I don't understand that statement.
But you don't usually get arrested as a customer for going to a restaurant.
If people want to risk eating inside, that's their prerogative. I'm not going to do it just because I don't know all the people that come in there, said Mike Blacknail while picking up his to-go order in his car with his mask on.
Well, I think a big part of it is the social stigma.
Yes.
It's one thing to get food from this place, but it's another thing to be seen.
Only people
entering.
can see you who are also there themselves. So that shouldn't be a problem.
I saw you entering that place. We're not friends anymore.
Isn't that the name of the place? That place, it's called. Hang on.
See, that guy's obnoxious though. He's like, well, you know what? I'm perfectly happy to have all these people stand around each other, working, being close together, but I'm gonna sit in my car with a mask because it's clearly dangerous to walk into buildings.
Right. Yeah. The restaurant is called That One Place. So
I saw you walking into that one place.
Yes.
You clearly want to kill Grandma.
Yeah. It is such a farce to me that normal, healthy people walking around breathing is suddenly something that people are afraid of.
It's like a 5-year-old car complaint. He's breathing on me.
Yeah. Mom, little Joey's breathing on me again.
Well, you see, humans produce this deadly miasma, and that is the real source of the bubonic plague. I mean, COVID.
Everything's better with bubonic on it.
It's true.
The Washington State Department of Labor and Industry said inspectors are looking into complaints that one place. Tim Church, Communications Director of Labor and Industry, said a defiant business could get a citation or a fine of up to $9,639 if there's a violation.
But how much do you lose for closing for 9 months?
Right.
if you're only making $1,000 a month, that might be a good deal, but you're probably not open if.
Considering that he has at least several employees, I would suspect that will hurt him, but it's probably still more viable for him to remain in business making money.
Yeah, $9,000.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an expense, right?
Yeah.
But it's if you're going to be closed down anyway.
So you could have your business minus $10,000, or you could have no.
He also mentioned that there could be an issuance of an order and notice of immediate restraint. Now, I'm not familiar with these legal terms. Are you?
No.
Order and notice of immediate restraint.
Those are going to be state things.
Yeah. So what we do know about these...
Sounds like a cease and desist order, but...
Yeah, what we do know about these legal terms is that these are, either laws or ordinances or mandates. And when it comes to the government, all of these things are backed in one way and one way only, and that's by the threat and, of course, use of violence. Every law is just a gun behind a piece of paper. So let's say the state does issue this guy a fine, and they take away his licenses, and they give him an issuance of an order and notice of immediate restraint, and he remains open anyway. What do you think happens next? That's right. The armed goons with the shiny little badges show up to attempt to put him in a cage, and if he resists that, of course, they purport the authority to end his life. Because he wants to keep his business open. People want to frequent his business.
Yeah, and that was the strange thing about what's the penalty for defying this? Well, the penalty for defying anything completely is death.
Yes.
Short of that, they can just, keep hitting you with whatever fine, however big or small, because you keep not doing what they tell you to, until you are bled completely dry and run out of money, and you kind of need that to live, last I checked.
Church said of all the 14,000 plus complaints L&I has received, only about 20 defiant businesses were cited. So they are citing these defiant businesses, showing a high compliance rate. He said the goal is to educate business owners before enforcement. Educate them on what?
That would be lovely. Let's have education and make our own decisions. That would be a wonderful way of solving these problems.
He says, we certainly can cite and fine a business, but that's not where we start out. We're starting out with wanting to protect the health and safety of the people who work there. Well, shouldn't you be respecting their choice?
Well, first I'm gonna tell you to do a thing, then I'm gonna propagandize you, and then I will threaten you with kidnapping and torture.
855-450-3733 is our number if you'd like to join us. We've got more Free Talk Live, more of your calls and your thoughts coming up.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead, so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
The stress levels of Americans may be at an all-time high. From education to business to basic needs to politics, the 2020 pandemic-related stressors are pushing many of us to near breaking point. That's why you should consider the stress and pain-relieving products from sunny-bay.com, like our lavender neck wraps and pads infused with premium Washington lavender buds. They relieve tension and relax with a soothing scent of lavender. And lifestyle expert Jennifer Bonner recommends products from Sunny Bay.
Sunny Bay's hands-free neck wrap should be your go-to pain relief solution.
Give gifts to family and friends that relieve stress and pain. Give love and care by giving the best. Give pillows, neck wraps, and body wraps from sunny-bay.com, a Biomed DB design company. Just click sunny-bay.com. That's sunny-bay.com.
Join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021. We'll see you at forkfest.party. What if you want to hear the latest episode of Free Talk Live, but all you have is your phone, you forgot to download our archive, and you have no data connection? You can call our Listen line at 641-793-0191. That's a long-distance number, so you may incur charges. If not, listen as long as you want. 641-793-0191. The Free Talk Live Listen line, 641-793-0191.
Look, I'm sorry, but you're in for a world of pain if you use Koinomi. The reason is their wallet doesn't support payments. The solution is simple. Let them hear your voice. Message Koinomi on Twitter, it takes 5 seconds, and tell them AnyPay sent you, because they're on the fence right now, and your voice will prove that people care about using Bitcoin for payments. Go tweet at Koinomi now. Or even better, leave a review in the App Store. They really pay attention there. Thanks.
Live video of our key New Hampshire-based shows is streamed on DLive. Please follow and share at dlive.lrn.fm. That's dlive.lrn.fm.
Welcome back, everybody. Thanks for listening. This is Free Talk Live, the live call-in radio talk show program where you can take control of the airwaves, talk about anything you'd like. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733. That's 855-450-FREE, like freedom. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And I wanted to circle back to just a little follow-up, a story that we've been covering kind of continuously here on Free Talk Live. There is a bar in Staten Island that has also defied the authorities and remained open during the coronavirus restrictions imposed upon them. And we've been talking about it. There's a bit of an update. The sheriff says defiant New York City bar owner struck deputy with his car. Deputies were trying to arrest the bar owner for violating COVID-19 indoor dining rules. This is a co-owner. It's not, there isn't one single owner. There's, I believe, at least two, if not more than two. But this is from policeone.com. The co-owner of a New York City bar that authorities said had been defying coronavirus restrictions was taken into custody early Sunday after running over a deputy with a car, authorities said. Now, it says running over a deputy. Later in this article, they say struck a deputy, so it remains to be seen. This is, of course, allegedly. There's no evidence. I don't see. There might be a video here. Oh, it's a video of the folks protesting. It's not a video of anybody hitting anybody with a car. But it goes on to say Danny Presti fled from his bar, Max Public House. This is indeed the same bar/restaurant that we've been covering. after deputies observed patrons entering the establishment Saturday night in violation of the city and state's closure orders. Sheriff Joseph Fusito, F-U-C-I-T-O, said. So I'm just
Thank
thinking
you for your careful pronunciation of that.
Yeah,
with the radio.
I could make very good fun of that name, but I can't do so. Thank you, FCC. Presti, age 34, was eventually stopped and apprehended. The sheriff said charges against him were pending. An injured deputy was taken to the hospital for treatment of injuries. The deputy's condition wasn't immediately available. An email seeking comment was sent to an attorney representing the bar's owners. The Staten Island bar was the site of protests last week after the sheriff's office said plainclothes officers were able to go inside, order food and beverages on Tuesday. Presti was arrested at the time, so he's been arrested multiple times now. The tavern is in an area designated by Governor Andrew Cuomo as an orange zone because of spiking COVID-19 rates and was not supposed to be serving customers indoors. But the owners
orange zone.
Yeah, I think that's only Trump is allowed to go there or something. I'm not sure.
I mean, are we seriously doing a complete repeat of the War on Terror?
Yeah, yeah, they do have the color coordinated heightened alerts.
Yeah, some states have like 1, 2, and 3 or whatever.
Yeah, they have tiers or they have color codes depending on what they decided to do, what they thought struck the most
worse
fear.
Than green, or is green worse than blue? It doesn't matter. We'll never get there.
But the owners had declared the bar an autonomous zone, a nod to protesters who claimed control over Seattle neighborhood in June. So that is the update there. Again, this is all alleged stuff. This man has been arrested multiple times for just trying to keep his bar open. He's done everything that he can to sort of work around. They were even doing where the food and the drinks were free. It was just tip what you want kind of a thing. So that they weren't actually doing transactions. It wasn't like, oh no, your beer is $5 and your burger, I guess it's New York, your beer is $10 and your burger is 20 or whatever. It was nothing like that. It was just they wanted to be able to stay open and let people who wanted to come in of their own volition, their own choice to come and patronize the place, allow them to do so. And it's still going on. So there will be more updates. I'm sure we will cover this story further here on Free Talk Live. I just wanted to get that out there. Let's continue on with your calls and your thoughts. We have Dr. Jeff from Vermont calling. Dr. Jeff, you're on Free Talk Live.
Hi. You were speaking earlier about suspected COVID cases, wondering what a suspected case would be.
Well, after you're while you're admitted, it makes sense if you're walking around or quarantining, but if they admit you and all they're saying is suspected, that doesn't make sense to me.
Right. So these are cases that fit the clinical picture where the patient sick enough to require hospitalization and they do a COVID test but don't have the result back yet. So until they get that result, it's a suspected case.
Do you have any idea like what the percentage is of suspected cases versus confirmed cases, on a given day or week or anything like that?
I don't, but it's published.
Okay.
It's just a definition. It's just a case that's sent to the lab that is pending the result.
Do you know what criteria they choose to give you that test? Because I figure it's, if you're like sneezing, coughing.
So you're right. It's very liberal decision making in terms of doing the test. In Vermont, there are maybe, I forgot what the statistics are, 10 to 50 times more tests than there are positive results.
Wow. That's a lot. So
that's good. That way you don't miss a test.
Well, and that's not Vermont's fault necessarily, because people go in as like, oh, I'm scared. I need to get a test. And they're like, okay, what symptoms do you have? And they're like, none. But test me.
You can do that.
Yeah. So that's not necessarily even the state's fault. That's just people being weird.
So, Doctor...
They actually encourage it.
Doctor, I don't know, what your specific practice is, if you're a medical doctor, a physician, emergency room guy, but, do you have an opinion on these PCR tests and their accuracy?
Well, they're pretty accurate. That's part of the problem, is they're so accurate they can detect, the tiniest remnant even of COVID-19 virus, so that you're not really testing infection. you're testing the presence of virus, and there's a difference.
What's the difference?
The difference is there could be presence of virus without the person being sick.
Okay.
So wouldn't that be then an invalid test for what they're claiming that they're testing for? Because we should be testing for infection, right?
Well, there isn't a good test for infection. It's a clinical diagnosis. You're putting together a clinical picture with a laboratory test.
I'm still not super clear on where the line of infection gets drawn.
So here's an easier way, perhaps, to think of it. With bacterial infection, you can have bacteria growing as we do on our skin. We're not infected. We just have the presence of bacteria. It's called colonization.
Well, and largely that bacteria is, if not helpful in many cases, then at least completely benign.
It can be. It could be helpful. It could be benign. It could be incidental. But there could even be growth of harmful bacteria that are not causing infection. That's called colonization. So here, with virus, you could have walked through a virus cloud where somebody was coughing or sneezing virus. You got some in your nose. They do a test. They find it because it's such a sensitive test, but you didn't get sick either yet, maybe you never will, or you haven't yet gotten sick from that, let's say recent inhalation. But it's just the point that the test is that sensitive. But it's not testing infection. It's testing the presence of virus.
And isn't it also possible that some folks may already have an immunity?
Yes, you could have immunity. You could have the presence of virus and not be infected by that virus that was just tested.
Okay. All right. Anything else you wanted to talk about tonight, Dr. Jeff? I'm glad that you've called. It's interesting to have a doctor who can speak intelligently about these things. Call us.
No, thanks for the offer, but maybe another time.
All right. We appreciate you listening. Thanks for the call tonight, Doctor.
Yeah, please do call back.
Good information.
Yeah, especially if you hear us struggling with some medical terminology that we don't necessarily have familiarity with.
Yeah, occasionally I get the nomenclature wrong, and I'm no medical student. I'm not a doctor of any kind, other than perhaps a doctor of awesomeness.
One would hope.
Yeah. All right, let's switch gears here. We've given you the update on Mac's Public House in Staten Island. We talked about the restaurant in Port Orchard. Let's shift gears a little bit, and let's talk about the hypocrite politicians who keep getting caught breaking the COVID-19 rules that they themselves have ordered everybody to obey. A law for thee, but not for me, as they say. 855-450-3733. We'll get to that here on Free Talk Live coming up.
Remember when you first heard about Bitcoin? How long did it take you to realize this little project would soon change the world? Do you kind of wish you had gotten involved sooner? Well, now's your chance to be part of the next revolution in money. Intercoin is working to finally make crypto go mainstream. It's designed to be scalable enough to support everyday payments and even elections without the state. Bitcoin was originally supposed to be a peer-to-peer cash system, the way we would all pay one another without having to trust any third party. But instead, over time, it mostly became a store of value. That's because every 10 minutes, the Bitcoin network must put all transactions into a block, and that block can only hold so much. If crypto is to become mainstream, for everyone to use it in everyday payments, we need a new architecture, one that's as secure as Bitcoin while being far more scalable. Check out intercoin.org to find out more and maybe pick up some of those coins for yourself.
Are you tired of your taxes funding endless occupations around the world? Antiwar.com is run by people who understand that wars abroad become wars at home, wars on our freedoms. Antiwar.com is dedicated to bringing you the latest in news, views, interviews, and reviews from the top movers and shakers in the anti-occupation movement. Antiwar.com has it all, from thorough foreign policy analysis to interviews with whistleblowers who used to run the military-industrial complex. Anti-war, pro-free market. That's antiwar.com.
Tired of cancel culture? Sick of mega tech corporations holding an axe over your head? Join the LRN.FM Matrix chat server. It's self-hosted, so no one else can tell us what to do or say. Don't like the existing channels? You can make your own. You can even connect into some of our channels from other Matrix servers. It's federated. For the full LRN.FM Matrix experience, though, you should join our server via the step-by-step instructions at chat.lrn.fm. chat.lrn.fm.
You're listening to the live edition of Free Talk Live. Hour number 3 is next after the news here on the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Stamps.com brings the post office and UPS shipping right to your computer. Go to Stamps.com to start a 4-week trial, plus free postage and a digital scale with promo code FOX. That's Stamps.com. Click on the microphone at the top of the page and type in FOX.
Politics getting heated in Georgia. I'm Joe Chiro, Fox News. Georgia Republican Senator Kelly Loeffler and her Democratic challenger Raphael Warnock debated tonight in Atlanta. The two are locked in a tight race for a January runoff race that will determine the future of the Senate. They locked horns early on a question about what they do for working families.
I'm concerned that Washington is not focused on ordinary people. You can't tell the difference between Washington back rooms and corporate boardrooms. My opponent represents the worst of that kind of problem.
They want to raise taxes on hardworking Georgians. They want to defund the police. They want to open our borders. They want to implement the Green New Deal. I'm fighting for every single Georgian to live the American dream that I was blessed to live.
The other Georgia Senate runoff race is also being watched closely between Republican Senator David Perdue and Democrat John Ossoff. They were supposed to debate, but Perdue bowed out. He was represented by an empty podium as Ossoff took to the stage and answered questions. President-elect Joe Biden will name California Attorney General Xavier Becerra to be his health secretary. Becerra is a staunch supporter of the Affordable Care Act, and if confirmed by the Senate, the 62-year-old Becerra will be the first Latino to head the Department of Health and Human Services. Rudy Giuliani has tested positive for COVID-19. President Trump first broke the news that the 76-year-old has the virus.
Giuliani has been making appearances in multiple different state houses. He was in Michigan and in Georgia last week, not wearing a mask. No indication where he would have caught the coronavirus or how his condition is. The president did not allude to what Giuliani's specific condition is, just that he was hoping that he would get better and that he had tested positive.
Fox's Mark Meredith at the White House. America is listening to Fox News.
2020 has already reshaped how we work, and it's almost over. Businesses across the globe are challenged to be their most efficient, which means every hire is critical. Indeed is here to help. Indeed helps you find quality candidates quickly, so you can focus on hiring the person you need to keep your business going. Unlike other sites, Indeed gives you full control and payment flexibility over your hiring. You only pay for what you need, can pause your account at any time, and there are no long-term contracts. And now, Indeed's new way of matching you with candidates instantly delivers a short list of quality candidates whose resumes on Indeed match your job criteria that you can contact the moment you sponsor a job, making Indeed the only job site that can move as fast as you do. Right now, Indeed is offering a free $75 credit to boost your job post, which means more quality candidates will see it fast. Get started on Indeed.com/Fox. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply.
President Trump has doubled down on his threat to veto a $740 billion defense bill.
President Trump threatening again to veto the NDAA, the National Defense Authorization Act, if lawmakers do not include a measure eliminating legal protections for social media companies. The president is calling for the repeal of Section 230 of the Communications Decency Act, which protects tech giants like Facebook and Twitter from being held legally liable for what is posted on their platforms. Lawmakers on both sides of the aisle are pushing back on the president's demand, saying that the repeal of 230 was irrelevant to the passage of the Pentagon's funding bill. The legislation appears to have enough support for Congress to.
They started with Google Glass, and now the engineers behind Google have created a new body part to strap gadgets onto. They're calling it the flange, and the new synthetic skin appendage fits between the shoulder blades into a flat surface capable of holding a wide array of new gadgets for Google to hawk to consumers. While unveiling the innovation today, Google CEO Larry Page said, quote, "The possibilities for the number of completely pointless gadgets to strap, bind, and stick to your body are now endless." Early adopters are already raving about the synthetic body part.
It overheats and burns my skin pretty bad when I have it on, but I'm really getting to like it.
I'm actually thinking of getting a second one installed.
Critics are cautioning the tech world to not hail the flange as an achievement yet, since several users have reported problems with the device permanently grafting to their spinal column if worn overnight. Coming up next, Doritos unveils new e-Doritos that come in JPEG form whenever you're hungry.
This is the Onion News Network.
It's the story that's stunning the tech world. Despite his age, 6-year-old data entry prodigy Jeffrey Peters is already entertaining offers from dozens of major temp agencies. Experts say Jeffrey's abilities to sit still and perform mind-numbing tasks in Excel and Word for hours on end rank with a freelance worker 3 times his age. But Jeffrey's mom says that she knew he was special from early on.
I've always thought that Jeffrey was different from the other kids. He started wearing glasses for computer strain when he was just 3.5, and he already has some pretty significant tendinitis.
I've always wanted to work at Maverick Recruiting.
The data entry whiz is at the center of a bidding war between industry titans like Workforce Solutions and Metropolitan Staffing, both offering lavish perks like starting salaries of up to $15,000 and a cramped cubicle shared with only 2 other temps. Jeffrey's parents say that given the generous offers he's already received, he could be well on the way to affording a dingy rundown apartment of his own.
This is the Onion News Network.
Free Talk Live.
Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE as in freedom. This is Free Talk Live, the live call-in radio talk program where you can take control of the airwaves. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the captain.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
And we said we were going to switch gears, and I would like to do exactly that. This from the freethoughtproject.com. Hypocrite politicians keep getting caught breaking COVID-19 rules. Here's a list of them. Now, my first complaint about this article, maybe my only one, is that it's not really a list of these people. What they do is they present it as the person, and then they write several paragraphs about what that person is and what they've done. But they start off with, as COVID-19 cases continue to rise across the country, the government is responding the only way they know how.
With lots and lots of violence.
And threats of violence.
Arbitrary rules backed by the threat of force. Yes, congratulations. You've won. What did she win?
Liberty.
You've won liberty in your lifetime.
Oh wow, that's a tall order.
I know, right? It's the home version,
and
so
it's gone. I hope you enjoyed it. I mean, you just didn't notice that during that 1 second.
It's the home version where, basically as long as you're inside your home, you might be able to do something that resembles anything you want. But,
What's the rule? I can do it now, inside, in my own house, under the covers, with the lights out. Is that okay? No, put on your mask.
Business owners who flout lockdowns have been arrested, beaten, jailed, and even family gatherings have been raided like they are child trafficking rings. Despite brutal lockdowns, mandates, the complete destruction of the economy, and putting the police state on steroids, cases are still rising, COVID cases. Every time they rise, the politicians take to their podiums and blame the citizens for not following their dictates close enough. More force is threatened, more arbitrary rules are rolled out. Despite the utterly horrifying effects of the lockdowns, politicians across the country keep forcing them on citizens. Why is that? Well, one of the reasons these politicians are just fine and dandy with putting millions of people out of business, sparking an epidemic of depression and suicide, and locking down their states is because it really doesn't affect their lives at all. Regardless of what happened to the economy, every single government worker, from cops to the president, has kept their job. They've also received their weekly taxpayer-funded paychecks, all while getting an extended vacation, some of them literally.
And that really does strike that, like, okay, if I ordered people to do a thing that got a bunch of people killed, I not only might lose my job, I might go to jail for it. Yeah. Now, if Cuomo does it, he gets an Emmy for it and a book deal.
Yeah, and how come all of these bureaucrats are essential?
Ain't that the truth? Somehow, so many of our jobs not essential. Going out to eat, having a culture, art, literature, music, those are just not essential. But politicians, we can't not have arbitrary mandates.
Well, and we know back in July in Washington, D.C., they actually exempted themselves. Government workers were exempt from the masking laws.
Isn't that cute?
Yes. A law for thee, but not for me.
Well, it's really important, and it definitely works, but we don't have to do it in my office.
On top of the fact that these politicians and government workers all keep their jobs, many of them have been caught breaking the very dictates that they doled out. After all, hypocrisy is one of the key traits to being a successful politician.
It's very true. How am I supposed to take opposite positions on the same thing so that I can get both voters?
The Free Thought Project has compiled a list of politicians who have been caught breaking their own rules because there are so many of them. This list is not complete, but should serve as a wake-up call to those who think their ostensible leaders have their best interests in mind. They don't. In the cases below, many of these politicians advocated for throwing people in cages for the very mandates they are caught violating. Out of the gate, the mayor of Chicago, Lori Lightfoot, was one of the heavy-handed local dictators who threatened to kidnap and cage people for violating her orders, unless, of course, that person is her. After implementing a lockdown and threatening jail for violators, even people who just wanted a haircut, Lightfoot was busted going to a salon to get an illegal haircut.
Wah, wah.
Lightfoot defended the decision by saying, "I'm the public face of this city, and I'm a person who takes personal hygiene very seriously, and I felt like I needed to have a haircut,
Yeah, okay.
so I got
a
a
haircut
haircut."
is not part of hygiene.
It
Washing
really isn't.
your hair is part of hygiene.
Yes.
But it's important that I look good. It's not important that anyone other than me looks good.
Yeah, so basically, Miss or
I'm an
Mrs.
important
Lightfoot.
person. You're not. Because you're not the face of this city.
According to Lightfoot, you could also not have a traditional Thanksgiving, but if she wanted to go to the Joe Biden victory gathering at which hundreds of people would be screaming and in close proximity, this is fine and dandy.
Well, I mean, that's not a traditional Thanksgiving.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. You do have a point there. In New York, Governor Andrew Cuomo has been seen on video and photographs disobeying his own orders, which have gotten average citizens beaten and arrested. He's even been seen hugging people while maskless.
Dun, dun, dun.
In California, Governor Gavin Newsom was caught and exposed flouting his own ridiculous strictures on eating in restaurants, not putting his mask back on between bites. Yes, he really mandated not putting your mask back on, or you have to put your mask on between bites. It's a real mandate that he passed down.
And that is one of those mandates that sounds like a joke. It sounds like, oh, you're using hyperbole. No. It's like, oh, no one's actually saying that you should do that. He is. And he will send the police after you for not doing it.
When he was caught dining at one of the world's most expensive restaurants, he lied to the public and said the table was outside, but photos quickly surfaced outing his lies.
That is one thing I do love about the modern age, is that when they lie to us, it's a lot easier for us to just, show the footage.
Yeah, where's the tape? Film at 11, right?
Right.
Louisiana Governor John Bell Edwards, while forcing bars to shutter across the state, was caught on video breaking the gathering size limit while simultaneously hiring a private bar company for a political fundraiser.
Well, you see, the virus is afraid of political fundraisers. Anything that raises money for a politician is just immune to coronaviruses. Don't you know that?
I know that all these politicians are the same. They're just another empty suit with a different name. Even Governor Grisham in New Mexico, who is now forcing grocery stores to close, has been caught breaking her own rules. During her mandated closure of non-essential businesses, she had a store open up so she could buy jewelry.
Wow. Me buying jewelry, that's important. You getting food, maybe next month.
The list goes on and on. Dr. Anthony Fauci, who has been at the center of this entire debacle from day one, first telling Americans not to wear masks and then pushing for a nationwide mask mandate, is not free from this hypocrisy either. After telling the nation to mask up, Fauci was seen at the Major League Baseball game between the Washington Nationals and the New York Yankees, not wearing his mask. When word got out, Fauci went on the offensive and called those who criticized him for it mischievous and claimed to have pulled down the mask because he was drinking water. But the picture showed that that wasn't true. He had both of his hands on his phone, not a bottle of water. I don't know about you, but these bastards, and I can think of much worse words to call them that I can't say on the radio, these bastards have no intention of following their own rules.
I will forgive Fauci if he just swallows his phone.
855-450
cop phone cookies.
3733. Are you tired of these bastards? Give us a call. More Free Talk Live coming up.
Bitcoin.com is the best source for learning about cryptocurrency. Go there now, click on Get Started at the top of the page. Once you do that, you'll find a cornucopia of information, neatly organized for your needs. If you're a knowledgeable crypto user, check out news.bitcoin.com where you can get the latest headlines. Bitcoin.com is your source for buying cryptocurrency, getting a wallet app, mining, trading, and all the latest cryptocurrency news, all on a slick and easy-to-use website. All put together by the best minds in the business to teach you about cryptocurrency. Bitcoin.com.
Bear, the rescue dog, had very flaky skin, dropping a lot of fur, and Levette wanted to do steroid injections. I was at a dead end.
DINOVITE.com.
Probably 6 weeks after we started using Dinovite, no more flaky skin. He doesn't scratch and itch. It was awesome.
You get some Dinovite, how happy your dog will be.
Every rescue dog in America deserves Dinovite for 90 days.
DINOVITE.com.
Did you know you can support freedom of speech just by visiting shop.freetalklive.com? You'll see links to Walmart, Love Java, Newegg, and more. Every day, Free Talk Live is at the forefront of the liberty movement as the biggest liberty-oriented talk show in the world, giving you a platform to be heard on any topic. Get listener-only specials without doing anything other than an extra click. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. Use the links and buy what you'd be buying anyway. Take action now. Save and support freedom. Visit shop.freetalklive.com. It's shop.freetalklive.com.
Having taken her father's throne, Sarah Calhoun has fallen out with one of her best allies, and her brother Nathaniel heads into Imperial Philadelphia with a reckless plan. Her uncle Thomas, armed with new powers and new allies, aims to remove Sarah from her throne and from the world of the living. To survive, and to gain the strength she needs to fight an impossible war, Sarah must unite the Mound Builder Kings to enact an ancient rite that will propel her beyond mortality. Servant Daughter by T.J. Butler is the newest entry in the Dragon Award-winning Witchy War series from Baen Books at BaenBooks.com.
Hey guys, Mark Claire here, lionsofliberty.com, where we strive to advance the ideas of liberty daily. We bring you the Morning Roar. That's right, every Monday to Friday we'll have a brand new edition of the Morning Roar, where we provide a roundup of some news stories that you may not find in the mainstream media or even in your typical social media newsfeed. We find stories that relate to the ideas of liberty and provide you with our liberty perspective on them. Every Monday, we have our longest-running feature, Mondays with Murray, named after the great libertarian Murray Rothbard, where we'll examine an article or an excerpt from his works and help convey his view, along with our little spin as well. We wrap it all up every Friday with Felony Friday, where our own John Odermatt goes out and takes a look at some sort of felony. There's felonies committed every day, you know, whether it's a felony committed by the police, a politician, or even an average citizen. You can find all of this and so much more over at lionsofliberty.com. Advancing the ideas of liberty daily.
Some of you asked, and now we've delivered. LRN.FM's live Keene, New Hampshire studio shows are now streamed in HD on Twitch. Visit our channel at twitch.lrn.fm and give it a follow. If you have Amazon Prime, you get one free subscription on Twitch. If you use it on our channel, Twitch will give LRN.FM a monthly piece of your Prime subscription cost. So please watch, follow, share, and subscribe to twitch.lrn.fm. That's twitch.lrn.fm. Bitcoin.com has launched a trading platform at local.bitcoin.com, allowing you to buy or sell Bitcoin Cash via dozens of payment methods like PayPal, Venmo, bank deposit, remittances, or meeting in person with cash. There are no ID requirements to sign up for and use the site, and all communications between buyers and sellers are encrypted. Finally, a global trading platform that respects your privacy. Visit local.bitcoin.com to get started trading Bitcoin Cash. local.bitcoin.com.
You're listening to the best liberty-oriented audio streamed around the clock, on the air, and online. This is the Liberty Radio Network at LRN.FM.
Free Talk Live. Our toll-free number is 855-450-3733 or 855-450-FREE, as in freedom, something you have less and less of today thanks to these bastard politicians. In the studio tonight, it's myself, the Reverend Captain Kickass.
Peakless Mountaineer.
And Melanie.
We've been talking about this article from the Free Thought Project, which I like to call a rule for thee and not for me. And we are talking about these bastard politicians who dare lay mandates upon everyone else and not obey them themselves. Very publicly.
And it is profoundly absurd that, you know, I've decided that you just don't need to get food today. I, on the other hand.
Yeah. We'll get back to that in just a minute. But I wanted to tell you about ForkFest 2021. That's right. I know it's still 2020, but we are planning this for next year, where you can join liberty-minded voluntarists, anarchists, and libertarians from June 28th through July 4th for ForkFest 2021 at Rogers Campground in the beautiful White Mountains of New Hampshire. ForkFest happens the week after the Porcupine Freedom Festival, and ForkFest is decentralized, which means no one is in charge. That also means there's no ticket cost. Just reserve your camping, RV site, or motel room with Rogers Campground for June 28th through July 4th. Where better to celebrate Independence Day than around other freedom-loving activists in the Shire? You can relax and enjoy the camaraderie of like-minded people, or you can create whatever experience or event you'd like others to have. If you're planning an event for ForkFest, be sure to let others know in advance. You can connect with fellow ForkFesters via the unofficial Telegram chat or the ForkFest forum. Links to those are on the unofficial website, forkfest.party. Mark your calendar for June 28th through July 4th, 2021, and we'll see you at forkfest.party. I know this previous ForkFest, I had a good time. We were lamenting during dinner, actually, about Lee and I, a specific good time that we had that, well, I think both of us don't remember all the details of.
Not all of it. The first part was awesome, though.
So you can come and party with us. At any rate, the list continues of the hypocrite politicians here from the Free Thought Project. In November, Austin, Texas Mayor Steve Adler issued guidelines telling people not to gather in groups of more than 10. Naturally, these rules did not apply to Adler, who turned around and hosted a wedding reception with 20 guests for his daughter at a trendy hotel near downtown.
Well, see, you know, that might not actually be a violation because politicians really aren't human.
Right. Then Adler issued a stay-at-home order noting that we need to stay home if you can. This is not the time to relax. We are going to be looking really closely. We may have to close things down if we're not careful.
Wait, so what are you supposed to be doing at home doing nothing if it's not the time to relax?
Yeah, I don't know. But again, this did not apply to Adler.
You must be on alert. For the invisible fiend.
This did not apply to Adler, who then boarded his private jet bound for Cabo San Lucas, Mexico, where they vacationed for a week at a family timeshare.
Well, I don't think anyone relaxes in Cabo San Lucas. I mean, you know, you get in those lovely beach chairs, you get those drinks delivered, and you just stress out because now is not the time to relax.
Naturally, Adler claimed he did nothing wrong by breaking his own rules. In Philadelphia, indoor dining was banned as part of COVID-19 lockdowns, unless you're the mayor. In August, Philly Mayor Jim Kenney dined indoors in Maryland. A widely circulated photograph shows, though indoor dining was prohibited in Philadelphia. That's not all. While Nancy Pelosi was caught in California getting an illegal haircut, Governor Ralph Northam was caught maskless at Virginia Beach. He later apologized and said, "I was not prepared."
You were not prepared to be caught on camera, that's what.
Hypocrite, bastard politicians. That's what I should have titled this show. Hindsight is always 2020. Not the year, the vision. Yeah, I was not prepared. Photos of a celebration for Carlos Cesura, head of a powerful construction trade organization, New York Building Congress, shows Democrat elites flouting COVID-19 restrictions. According to the New York Daily News, attendees included Deputy Brooklyn Borough President Ingrid Lewis-Martin and former Brooklyn Democrat Party Chairman Frank Seddio, or Seddio, S-E-D-D-I-O. In one image, about 24 people are seen mingling with one another in an ornate dining area while celebrating Cesura's 50th. Only 2 of them are visibly wearing masks. All of this was in spite of Governor Cuomo's orders limiting gatherings to no more than 10 people, and, of course, the mask mandates. In November, the mayor of Denver, Michael Hancock, told citizens to, quote, avoid travel. Less than an hour later, this hypocrite boarded a flight to travel to his family for Thanksgiving.
They must not have lived in California.
Yeah. The hypocritical response by government is not at all surprising, as this is what government does. Do as I say, not as I do. With political leaders flaunting their above-the-law status, it should come as no surprise that there is massive resistance to their mandates. There's resistance. I don't know about massive. I mean, we're covering as much resistance as we can find here on Free Talk Live, but
it is truly revealing about their private mindset. I mean, publicly they're saying, "Oh, this is an absolute crisis, and it's so important that absolutely every person follows absolutely every one of these things." When they don't believe that, they don't think that's true.
You know, they certainly don't, and they certainly believe that they are above their own orders.
And it's an illustration of they are first-class citizens, we are not.
The author of this article has a bit of an editorial. He says, "In my time in the Marine Corps, I learned one very important lesson about leadership. Successful leaders do not create more docile followers. They create more leaders. Successful leaders also do not lead by barking orders and telling people what to do. They lead by example. If Americans followed the examples of the alleged leaders in the examples above, we'd have a nation of sheep begging for their corrupt overlords to tell them what to do next. Oh, wait. ... I contend that politicians are not leaders at all, and they never have been. The fact that they're referred to as leaders burns my ass.
They certainly want you to be their followers.
I do not need to be led. And where the hell is everybody going anyway that we need these leaders to lead us to?
Well, it's called progress, don't you know?
They're going to lead us to progress?
Yes,
I'm pretty
it's
sure
a
I can,
bridge to the future
pretty
and
sure I can
other
make,
things that politicians say.
Pretty sure I can make progress by myself. Thanks. Bastards. 855-450-3733 is our toll-free number if you'd like to join the conversation. That's 855-450-FREE like freedom. This is Free Talk Live. We've got more fun for you coming up.
Divvy's been a pretty good investment for Free Talk Live. Their ad campaign started in September 2019, and from mid-March to mid-July, the values soared by 10 times. It's not too late. Divvy's new wallet hasn't even released yet, and other things are happening that I can't even say on the radio. If you want to invest and potentially do well, go to divvyproject.org. I can tell you that FTL is deepening its partnership with the guys from divvyproject.org. Past performance is not an indication of future profit. divvyproject.org. D-I-V-I project.org.
What if the United States and the Soviet Union had fought on land, sea, air, and the astral plane, struggled for dominion across parallel dimensions, or on the surface of the moon? What wonders would have been unveiled? What terrors would have haunted mankind from those dark and dismal dimensions? Come closer, peer through a glass darkly, and discover the horrifying alternative visions of World War III from some of today's greatest minds in science fiction, fantasy, and horror. Weird World War III. Available now from Baen Books at baenbooks.com.
Why did you move to the Shire?
I moved here to the Shire because there's other people around who take liberty just as seriously as I do.
I moved to the Shire because I saw videos of people challenging authority and thought that I could get support myself. It called to me, like, do this, right now.
I wanted to be around people like me who got it, and once I got here, I knew there was nowhere else that I wanted to be.
I've always wanted to change the world, so I moved to the Shire to join people who were actually working towards doing the same thing.
The people here are awesome, loving, and positive. It was for the adventure and for the feeling of something important is happening here, and I just wanted to come to sort of be part of that.
Visit ShireSociety.com to read and sign the Shire Society Declaration and learn the reasons why, if you love liberty, you should immigrate to the Shire. Plus, connect with others via the forum at ShireSociety.com. That's ShireSociety.com.
I'm a little obsessed with My Magic Mud. Several years ago, I met Jessica Armand, the founder and CEO of My Magic Mud, and I didn't even know my teeth were coffee stained. A week's worth of use convinced me, and now I use it every 3 or 4 days. It's clinically proven to whiten teeth, and I think it cleans better, too. My Magic Mud's available at most local health food stores, Sprouts, Natural Grocers, CVS, Walmart's Natural Beauty Aisle, but I can get it for you for 20% off with coupon code FTL20 at MyMagicMud.com. FTL20, MyMagicMud.com.
So you've heard all 3 hours of the latest episode of Free Talk Live, and you're still hungry for liberty-oriented audio content? Did you know that we have another 24/7 audio stream at LRN.FM? The Liberty Radio Network airs the latest episodes of some of the best liberty-oriented podcasts on the internet around the clock. In addition to recorded content, you'll also hear live shows like Free Talk Live, originating from our Keene, New Hampshire studio. So listen anytime at LRN.FM. That's LRN.FM. I'm grateful to have heard from some of our satellite listeners recently. I appreciate knowing that people are out there who like what we do and are willing to support it financially. LRN.FM's free-to-air satellite feeds blanket most of 2 continents. It was my goal to put our channel there so people without internet could receive our programs and feed pirate radio stations. We started a fundraiser on Patreon a few years ago to back the satellite channels. I recently announced that I was considering canceling the feeds, and donations increased from 15 to 20% of our costs, which are around $1,000 per month. That's a good start, and to incentivize more contributions, the Shire Free Church will be matching every dollar. Can we reach $500 per month? With your help, we can. You can join our satellite fundraiser for just $2 a month at fund.lrn.fm. If we raise enough to keep both of the channels on the air, awesome. If we raise more, I'll add more channels. If not, we can shut them down and go internet only. It's up to you. Thank you for your support. fund.lrn.fm.
Do you love Twitter? Make sure you favorite the LRN.FM Twitter account so you can receive our tweets at twitter.lrn.fm. That's twitter.lrn.fm.
Welcome back to the program, everybody. It is Free Talk Live, the live call-in radio talk program where you can take control of the airwaves, talk about anything you like, anything we're talking about, anything we've talked about in the past. That's the whole point. We also stream live over at freetalklive.com. Also, LRN.FM, and we're on some satellite stations somewhere, somehow, that I can't speak articulately about. But if you're listening, great, thanks. We appreciate you. Our toll-free number again, 855-450-3733. In the studio tonight, it's Captain Kickass, Peakless Mountaineer, and Melanie. And we will continue talking about all sorts of fun things here tonight. But first, I wanted to say thank you to Jonathan. He is tonight's amplifier. If you don't know what an amplifier is, well, here at Free Talk Live, we have a program that's called Advertise, Market, and Promote, or AMP. And you can find out more about that over at amp.freetalklive.com. Basically, we ask for $5 a month. You can spend more than that. We have a few different levels. And if you do give of your $5 or more, we will put that money directly to use to get our program onto more radio stations. We're currently somewhere on like 180 or 190 radio stations. We could be on 200. We could be on 250, 300 stations even. It's all up to you. You can find out more at amp.freetalklive.com. And if you do decide to amplify, there's some perks and some benefits that you get. And you can find out more over there on the website, amp.freetalklive.com. And again, thank you to Jonathan. He's a platinum level amplifier, which means he gives more than the $5. So we do appreciate you, Jonathan. So now that I've ranted about hypocritical bastard politicians, let's take a look at some. This is something Melanie brought in from, it looks like WebMD.com. Neanderthal genes could link to severe COVID-19. So I have not had the chance to breeze through this article. Melanie, can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, so, and obviously there's other risk factors, right? But they were saying that this is the strongest genetic risk factor. Of course, genetics is a little bit in its infancy, so...
Yeah. So you're saying that if a human being has some Neanderthal genes, that they could be at a higher risk for developing COVID?
Yeah, so it says this pop-up thingy won't go away.
It says that? Wow, that's fantastic.
Okay, so from WebMD, and back in October, having Neanderthal genes could be a risk factor for developing severe COVID-19, according to a new study published in the journal Nature on Wednesday, which sounds like somebody's blog, but it's an actual medical journal. The study is an early release that has been accepted for publication, but may be edited later. That's true of all studies, though, but...
Well, they didn't want you to get too excited about it.
Well, I mean, studies...
Just so you know, this is one of those science things that we might actually change our mind on.
Okay.
This is not the settled science.
I mean, the thing about science is that, if something is discovered and it's written down, if the information changes, if the data changes, well, then, of course, the results change.
And that's what you should do with new information.
Yeah.
Well, that's actual science.
Right.
That's not the science, you see.
Oh, I see. It's just
a capital
science.
T,
It's
capital
not,
S, like every deity. Don't you know that?
I understand.
If you deify a thing, you got to give it a capital letter.
So, genetic variants in a region of chromosome 3 have been linked with respiratory failure and severe COVID-19. I think cases should be a word next, but it's not.
Right.
The genetic region is nearly identical to a Neanderthal from southern Europe who lived 50,000 years ago, the study authors found.
Well, sorry to go all grammar-y on this. Well, COVID is a shortened version of a word that ends in disease. So in severe, this disease.
Okay.
Anyway.
The genetic variant was transferred to humans through interbreeding about 60,000 years ago. That's how we got any Neanderthal DNA that we have in humans. That's how you got it, because we did not descend from Neanderthals. So That's how any Neanderthal DNA, if you have any, that's how you got it.
Yeah, we branched from a common ancestor and occupied the area simultaneously.
So just for our listeners who might not get all of that, correct me if I'm wrong here, we are Homo sapiens.
We are Homo sapiens sapiens, specifically.
Homo sapiens sapiens, specifically.
Yeah.
Okay. And
biologically
Neanderthals-
modern humans.
And Neanderthals were a different type of human being. And there was some interbreeding between the Neanderthals and the Homo sapiens, and that's why there's trace amounts of their DNA in our DNA.
Yes.
That's right.
Now about 50% of people in South Africa and 16% of people in Europe carry this section of DNA, the study author said. Now, that's not Neanderthal DNA overall. That's this specific Neanderthal gene.
Okay.
It is striking that the genetic heritage from Neanderthals has such tragic consequences during the current pandemic.
Yeah, that's
said this guy with the extra V's in his name.
Call him Pabo.
Pabo. One of the researchers and the genomic specialist at the Okinawa Institute of Science and Technology, graduate in Japan. Well, that's why I can't say his name because it's not English. In Japan,
right.
Said in a statement. The COVID-19 Host Genetics Initiative looked at more than 3,000 people, including patients hospitalized with severe COVID-19 and patients who tested positive for the virus but weren't hospitalized. The chromosome 3 region was linked with severe infection and hospitalization. Based on the study, people who carry the Neanderthal variant have up to 3 times the risk of needing ventilation if infected with the virus.
Svante, by the way. Svante Pabo.
Okay.
Which is hard to say, but a lot of fun.
3 times the risk, though. That's something.
That's a lot.
That is a huge change.
For just something that you don't have any control over.
And how would one know if they have this gene?
I don't want to do commercials for people, but right. A couple of them are having... You need to get full genome testing.
Okay.
A couple of them are having extended Black Friday sales right now. It's affordable now.
Yeah.
Even last year, it was like $5,000.
I
had a test done.
If you do read your contract, because some of those places will officially own your DNA now, because your DNA is a kind of intellectual property, they've decided.
Yeah.
And there are contracts that if you get your DNA tested, they own it now.
But now you can get it done for, $500 and sometimes less. And that's not nothing, but it's not like prohibitively expensive on an irrational level.
It's certainly 10 times less, thereabouts. Yeah. Okay.
Obviously, factors such as your age and other diseases you may have also affect how severely you're affected by the virus, but among genetic factors, this is the strongest one. Hugo Zeberg. These people are smart, so I hate to mispronounce.
That's fine.
Names. One of the researchers and a professor at the Max Planck Institute for Evolutionary Anthropology in Germany said in a statement. Now, Pablo and how do you say it? Zeberg want to study why the Neanderthal variants are associated with an increased risk of coronavirus infection and severe illness. This is something that we and others are now investigating as quickly as possible, Pablo said.
The longer this virus goes on, the more it resembles the plot line for a television show out of the UK called Utopia, which Netflix also did a reboot. They got through season 1 and promptly canceled it because, why, it hits close to home. More Free Talk Live coming up.
It's not over. Sadly, our nation is going through tough times again, with no end in sight, and nobody knows what might happen next year. That's why it's a good idea to plan ahead, so you aren't caught off guard. Nothing's more important than having enough food to eat, and we're here to help. We're My Patriot Supply, America's leading emergency preparedness company. We provide long-term emergency food that lasts up to 25 years in storage. When grocery stores run empty or disasters strike, our foods will be there when you need it most. Act now and secure at least a 4-week emergency food kit full of tasty meals that provide 2,000 calories a day. We have dozens of emergency food storage kits to choose from. When the government tells you not to go out, you can have the peace of mind that comes from being prepared. When you order from MyPatriotSupply.com, your food will arrive discreetly at your doorstep in no time. Prepare today. Time is short. MyPatriotSupply.com. That's MyPatriotSupply.com.
Would you like to get back that full head of hair from years past? Introducing Reveal from GCNLife.com. Beverly Hills dermatologist Dr. Nathan Newman invented Reveal, which contains polypeptides with natural botanicals and no parabens, sulfates, silicones, or dyes for a salon-quality hair growth product. Reveal. Here's Dr. Newman.
I have treated a lot of patients who lose their hair and they lose their confidence. We've created a unique set of polypeptides, which we call HPT6. The HPT6 contains the polypeptides from 6 different plants. The scalp infusion treatment should be used on wet or dry scalp. The Reveal hair care system is designed to be used for men and women alike.
Get Reveal at GCNLife.com with a 30-day money-back guarantee. So try Reveal today at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637. Plus a discount up to 25% off for Reveal at GCNLife.com or 844-443-6637.
So the protection of life, liberty, and property is what the Free State Project is all about. But it's an effort to move 20,000 people who understand.
It's about demonstrating to the entire country
that, yeah, we can have a free market, a truly free market. Making it just a freer, great place to live.
It's the world's largest voluntarist libertarian community, and it's only getting bigger.
That's amazing, to be able to move to a place where other people passionately believe in being free and independent.
What the Free State Project is managing to do, though, is to put their money where their mouth is. It's physically getting up across the country and saying, let's go someplace and let's demonstrate the power of these ideas. There's a lot of kind of philosophy that surrounds liberty. There's a lot of thinking about it and talking about it. But here in New Hampshire, people are doing it.
101 Reasons Liberty Lives in New Hampshire, a documentary by Free State Project Early Movers. Watch it free at 101reasonsfilm.com. 101reasonsfilm.com. If you want to know the latest about Free Talk Live before we go on the air, all you need to decide is how you want it delivered. It's your choice. Visit news.freetalklive.com to receive our usually weekly news updates by email. Plus, we have a Twitter account at twitter.freetalklive.com, and you can follow us on the decentralized Mastodon platform at toot.freetalklive.com. So please follow us at toot.freetalklive.com and sign up for our emails at news.freetalklive.com.
There are basically two types of advertising: direct response and branding. Radio's great for direct response with its low cost to listener ratio, but audio can't be beat for branding, which is a longer-term endeavor. You want to be the first thing that someone thinks of when they think about your product or service. If you have a local business that you want kept top of mind in your community, call the station. If you need national reach, Free Talk Live's got around 200 radio stations, millions of monthly listening sessions, can suit all budgets, and if we don't think we're right for you, we'll tell you. Email me, mark@freetalklive.com.
You can put the Liberty Radio Network on the air in your area. Visit broadcast.lrn.fm to learn how. Broadcast.lrn.fm.
Welcome back, everybody, to the final segment of Free Talk Live, the Sunday night edition. We might have time to get you on the air at 855-450-3733 if you call now. We may be having a technical difficulty at the screening level, but it looks like everything is working. So go ahead and give us a call, 855-450-3733 if you'd like to get on the air. We were talking about this article from WebMD about a DNA gene, a Neanderthal gene specifically, that could link to severe COVID-19. This article claims it increases your risk by 3 times. And that seems pretty high. I wonder, the article didn't say, but I wonder what the percentage of humans are that have this trait.
Well, they were saying that about 50% of people in South Asia and 16% of people in Europe carry this particular section of DNA. And that's kind of surprising to me. I usually hear the interbreeding of Neanderthals as a reference to Europe, because from what I understood, that's where the Neanderthals
in general,
were.
Europeans have Neanderthal DNA, but those numbers might not equate if you're looking at one specific point.
Yeah, and that's very strange that apparently half the people in South Asia have this specific gene.
Wow.
That they got from Neanderthals.
Wow.
Which, that's a revelation to me. Like, I had no idea there were that many South Asian and Neanderthal hybrids.
This might be the there's a lot of shady the lockdown itself is horrendous, but there's some shady things about the virus itself that doesn't make sense that something would, I don't know if evolve is right for viruses, but the virus itself makes no sense as an entity, even if you forget all of the lockdown stuff.
Right.
Yeah, there are a lot of things that do not look like they are the product of random assemblages of ribonucleic acids. A lot of this stuff really looks like okay, why does this virus, which is basically SARS, except it has essentially a mumps delivery device?
Ooh.
Yeah, there's some evidence that MMR gives you some immunity against coronavirus.
And yeah, the coronavirus part of it is essentially mumps. So they put SARS inside of a mumps delivery device.
Right.
And there appears to even be a portion of its DNA that looks like HIV.
Well, and for our listeners who don't know, MMR is mumps, measles, and rubella. It's a vaccination shot that you get generally as a youngster.
Yeah, it's usually required for schooling.
Right.
And just I don't know, maybe I'm
and not to mention the fact that this thing allegedly showed up for its first time in Wuhan. Now, Wuhan is the home of the one official biological research laboratory in China.
Right.
So it's the one place where they would be putting together weird viruses.
Yeah, and to be fair, just because a person made it does not mean they meant to release it, and does not mean they meant to release it at this time.
Right.
So I don't know that there's necessarily direct evidence of that. But, I mean, hey, I'm a paranoid person, right? The thing that strikes me as just really shady about the Neanderthal DNA, one is pure conjecture and one is actually evidence-based. So every anarchist that I've known who had a DNA test done scores really high in Neanderthal DNA.
Really?
Yeah. Mine hasn't come back. I haven't got the ancestry part of mine back yet, which is kind of annoying because I paid them a long time ago. But I got the rest of it, but I don't know why. So I don't know if I am or not, but that's just kind of weird, but also
there's a bizarrely high correlation between and there are particular traits that are pretty predictive of having a tendency toward libertarianism, specifically a combination of high intelligence and low politeness.
The thing that there is actually solid evidence of is that Neanderthal. Now, you're talking less than 1% of your DNA, so there's definitely other factors at work.
Yeah.
But there is a correlation between Neanderthal, or not a correlation, but there is a Neanderthal DNA will cause high intelligence to the extent that it causes traits when less than 1%. So
yeah, the Neanderthals had a larger brain.
It will give you a larger, more dense brain, which will cause intelligence,
Okay.
at least on the genetic side, and there are still environmental sides. And I don't know, intelligent anarchists just seems like a subset that maybe, I don't know, the state would want to kill.
Right.
Or just intelligent people seems like a subset that the state would want to kill.
Right. Or disobedient people anyway.
Well,
right.
and that's exactly why I was saying like low politeness. And mind you, these are also common traits for geniuses. So the difference between someone who just excels in academia and someone who's a genius is that the genius is not polite enough to avoid certain ideas.
Right.
And that's essentially what leads you to liberty, is being unwilling to avoid certain ideas in order to go along to get along.
And Neanderthal societies, whether it was genetic, environmental, or epigenetic, were more peaceful societies, which is probably part of how we killed them off.
And smaller, more tight-knit.
Right.
Yeah, so that just seems like exactly the type of people that the government would be like, well, we got this small problem still hanging around. Let's just get rid of that.
And whether that government be U.S. or China or whoever.
Yeah, it is eerily reminiscent of the plot to the series Utopia, which was done by the British over in the UK. There were 2 seasons, and then they decided to do a U.S. version of it. I believe Amazon did that version, and it was canceled after only 1 season, despite it being very good and having good reviews. So, take what you want out of that.
So,
and maybe they didn't mean to release it for another 5 years. I don't know,
right?
But
or at all, right? Like it could be that it got out.
Government employees still are also incompetent as well as evil.
Right,
I mean,
human.
they almost accidentally nuked North Carolina that one time.
Right.
4 of the 5 fail-safes failed, so they could have just dropped it.
And they're human too, so they could have developed a thing, given it to somebody, like, oh, nothing happened, and then that person went out into the
they could have
rest
just
of the
dropped
world.
the Petri dish on the floor. I mean, that's all it would really take.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's there are innumerable ways of accidentally releasing something that you should never have been creating in the first place. So one interesting thing. So I was like, South Asia. Now, is that China? And apparently South Asia essentially refers to the area of India. And it's interesting. So India's actually experiencing like the largest strike in human history, with 250 million workers striking simultaneously. And I really do wonder what exactly is going on in that country, where they are having some of the worst lockdowns and the worst mandates this side of China.
That's a great question. Let's go to David in New Mexico. David, you're on Free Talk Live.
Yes. Speaking of Neanderthal breeding, I'm glad to see you're already discussing the New Mexico court system. And
well, no, see, Neanderthals are intelligent and peaceful.
That is an unfair thing to say about Neanderthals.
That is very true, sir. That is very true. And sorry, the David Olson show was experiencing technical difficulties tonight, so there will be no musical guest, El Captain Kickass, tonight, unfortunately. But there will be an after party. So those of you with yes. So New Mexico court system, place your bets. Raul Torres, District Attorney, Bernalillo County, he has dropped 3. He has surrendered to me in 3 out of 4 cases that are all for the same thing, for calling the KUNM radio station.
You got them dropped?
Pardon?
You got them dropped?
Yeah, 3 out of the 4.
Congratulations.
They surrender. Well, I kind of like to fight, so I'm kind of pissed off, but there's one left. So
no, that's not what you want.
Yeah, that's not how this works, David.
What do you think is your positive outcome from this? Like that you will change the system from within?
I've already changed a bunch about the system, not on the grandest scale, but on just call it micro levels. Every time that I interact with one of these people, I stop myself from saying morons in the court system. They change their belief system to some small degree, I guarantee you. But anyway, so Raul Torres, place your bets. So is he setting me up? Are they like dropping 3 out of the 4 so they can pool their prosecutorial resources into nailing me and putting me in prison for a couple of years on the one last charge, or are they going to dismiss the final charge as well? How are you betting?
I'm going to bet on they dismiss the final one as well.
Ah, damn it.
Hey, David, thanks for the call tonight. Congratulations on getting those 3 dropped. I hope the other one gets dropped too. That's all the time we have for tonight. You can always get our archives over at freetalklive.com. Thanks. Peace. We'll see you tomorrow night for another edition.
Mounds and mounds of fur. Our hairballs have hairballs.
Our cat Mama, she's 10 years old. She has dandruff and an oily coat.
I have 2 cats, Sweet Pea and Daisy. Daisy sheds like crazy.
If you love your pets as much as I do, you want to do what's best for them to live long, healthy, happy lives.
DINOVITE.com. I just tried this wonderful Catalicious Dynovite for cats, and my cat has been on it for 2 weeks. She is not scratching anymore. She's not chewing anymore. It is just the best.
I was thrilled when I heard Dynovite for cats was coming out because I'd seen the changes in my dog. To introduce my cat to Dynovite, I took the advice from Dynovite and put their food on top of just a scoop in the bowl, just to get them used to it, because I know if I even switch one little thing, they put their nose up to it. There was not one problem.
Dynovite for life.
You won't believe